Okay. Meeting will come to order. 1900 hours. I guess the first thing we do is the region. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And all councilors are present. Kathy Morrison is online. So we have all seven council members. And guess the first item is the approval of the minutes from the November 10th, 2025 regular and special meetings, and from the November 24th, 25 special meeting. If no objections are registered, the council chair shall approve them as written.
I made a correction that Ann has already put in on, it was the 24th. No, it was on the 10th.
I think it's the from November 10th.
It's over.
Anything else? Okay. Then take a vote to approve the minutes. One motion. Okay. Minutes approved. Item 3, approval of warrants, but we have no warrants. It should have been in the package, I think.
No, they've been passed. They're good.
No, but they were not in the package.
They've never been.
We should.
Okay.
We'll have the discussion separately. You want to take a look? Okay.
I think moving forward, Mr. Chair, I'd like to see that these come in our package so we can have the time to look into them. I know in the past, we've always just signed them, not even knowing what was in them. We just glanced over them. So I would like to see that we get them in our packet moving forward.
I think that's very important.
There is a finance committee and 3 members of the finance committee. Go over them. If we're going to have the committee going over them individually, we don't need a finance.
Well, I still think that it's still, as a minimum, a summary of the warrants that we're going to sign should be given to us in advance of the meeting.
I'm not objecting to
It's
that.
got to be a practical thing.
I'm just saying that.
Really, I don't like voting things I have not seen.
I'm just saying that we're doing that. There's no need for a finance committee.
Okay, so I guess we can discuss that later as far as structure. Anyway, so motion to approve,
Second.
vote. Pass. Number 4, acceptance of gifts and donations. Mary Murphy, in memory of William and Valerie Osborne, $25 to the library. And Denise Lean Moore and Nancy Christensen, $50 to the library. Motion,
So
second,
Council Chair, can I back you up? That last vote, we have 2 of those. The Kathy's on Zoom.
oh, I'm sorry.
So if we can go back and re-vote that.
Okay. So,
Um,
vote.
The other thing, did you get,
You should have a piece of paper.
that was attached, those warrants? Because that's part of that motion, is warrant number, whatever's on that tape, to the last warrant number and a dollar amount. You have to vote on those
Good.
items.
This year,
Is that it? Steve?
that's it.
yeah, $1,418,000. $1,418,003.48.
Yeah, and warrant number 49 through 57.
Okay. So I guess then we have to do what we're voting on.
So everybody still agree? Councilor Flood? Councilor Hanington? Councilor Ireland? Counselor Rand.
Yes.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo.
Yes.
Counselor Moisten.
Yes.
Can't hear.
Yes.
She said yes. I saw her lip move.
Did she? Okay.
Okay, so go back to number 4. I guess we need to do the same thing. And we take roll call to accept the donations.
Yeah, was there a motion and a second?
Yeah.
Can you tell me the motion and the second? And yours? Counselor Clay? Counselor Hamilton?
Yeah.
Counselor Ireland? Counselor Rand?
Yeah.
Counselor Street?
Yes.
Counselor Rojo?
Yeah.
Counselor Moisten.
Yes.
Yes, she moved her again.
Thumbs up or thumbs.
Okay, number 5, Chairman, and the comments, but. Manager, going to speak first.
I would like to speak a few words. I've heard a number of people tonight in this room say, who's that guy up there? Might be the suit. But my name is Dennis Bullen. I'm the Director of the Public Works Department. I'm the Director of the Transfer Station, and currently I am the acting town manager.
Thank you.
I'd like to take a minute to thank Sean Rogers for the event that he put together over the weekend. We had a lot of volunteers. We'd like to thank those folks. The breakfast with Santa and the tree lighting parade and ceremony. And lastly, I'd like to big shout out to the Public Works crews. Those guys are dedicated. They worked all night last night, second time this year, and I'd just like to recognize them in public forum. Thank you.
Anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. We'll take advantage to make a comment. Looking at the defense summary report. There's a lot of things in there that require further analysis. We'll see what things being expected. But one thing that jumps to me is we're spending a lot of money in rent. And I think some of us have discussed at different points that we should not be renting, we should be owning our buildings, because this is money thrown out as just as a comment right now. So at some point, we formally take this as a matter of business for the county. So now we go to open forum, and you have a list of, planning board. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna raise my voice because I don't need a mic. I can well without one, but the planning board met on the 25th. They approved 2 subdivisions, one on Caribou Pond and one on Center Pond. They also had a conversation, brief conversation, because the technical issues on impact fees for subdivisions going in on private roads. They've tabled that and we'll discuss it next month along with food subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other reports? No, okay. So then we can now go to open forum. Yes, ma'am. And you identify yourself, please.
My name is Bobby Thorman, and I'm one of the owners of Just Baked, a small business in town. I'm speaking tonight to encourage you to consider all the implications of changing the name of the Loon Festival back to Homecoming. When I was growing up in this town in the 70s and 80s, I attended Lincoln Days, where we had the 4th of July celebrations with frog jumping contests in the Verviers parking lot. That turned into Homecoming when the Alumni Association aligned with the River Drive suburb. When that event became too big, the Alumni Association asked the town to take it over. The volunteers of the event committee put much time and effort into rebranding the event as a festival to promote Lincoln. Today, the Alumni Association is disbanded as interest in class reunions has dwindled in recent years. Rebranding as a festival was a good move on the town's part. To go back to a homecoming will be detrimental to the momentum this volunteer group has going for them. Lincoln is a 3-season tourist town. It is not easy being a small business owner in Lincoln. Many of our businesses rely on a busy summer season with dollars spent by those from away. Tourists do not attend homecomings. Lincoln is surrounded by Airbnbs, camps, and other accommodations welcoming them to our area. Our summer festival should welcome them also. Festivals draw crowds. Homecoming draws locals. Food trucks don't go to homecomings. Festivals draw vendors and advertising dollars. Homecomings do not. Our small business has a very limited marketing budget. Last year, we spent most of our marketing dollars sponsoring a silver level for the Loon Festival. We saw this as a good opportunity to get our business name in front of new visiting customers. We thought it was a good investment and our contribution added to the festival. If the name changes to Homecoming, our marketing dollars will shift to radio or television ads where we can draw new customers. Think about all the time and effort our events committee has put into the Loon Festival. Some may return to volunteer for the new event, some may not. Will new people step up? Think about what Biofine is saying, watching this new council take our town backwards to satisfy nostalgia and egos. This is more than a name change, and our town has bigger issues to deal with at this time. At the end of the day, most people want you to focus on big ticket items like jobs, lower taxes, stable infrastructure, and not the naming of festivals. Maybe this new council could start focusing on that kind of change. Thank you for your time.
And as chair of the Chamber of Commerce, we want to thank you for the time you took to have the survey that you shared with us.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Thanks, Pete. Well, I'd actually like to comment on the same thing. She brought up some really good points. I've got the town charter here. Ben, have you read this? Ben? So you're familiar with Article 2, Section 205? I don't think it's actually legal for you guys to rename Loonfest. Let me read it for you. Except for the purpose of inquiry, the council and its members shall deal with administrative services solely through the manager, and neither council nor any member thereof shall give order to any subordinates of the manager, either publicly or privately. So I'd like to ask why the council believes that it has the authority to change the name on an event that's overseen by one of the manager's subordinates, the events and communications director.
Well, because according to the charter, the council is the government and the legislative body. So all decisions are carried out by the manager and the staff, but the decisions are made by the council. And I think that some of us sitting here may have some history on how this decision was made.
So you don't think that the event that the events coordinator plans, you don't believe that the name of that event is under his purview?
Once it is given to him, yes, but I'm not sure that it's out of his own initiative alone.
I just wanted to
Again, it's a good point. We need to discuss it. Thanks for bringing it up.
You're very welcome.
Oh, and I'm Jet Timmons, but you all know me. Okay, thank you.
Good.
Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Jeff, for bringing that forward. Valid point. But if we back up, we have a subcommittee to look at purchasing the loom and the lighted display sign down the road. Council Chair Edwards and I got grief because the council did not approve the monies. So to piggyback on what Jet was saying, you can argue that point both ways. I mean, the council did not have the final approval of the $52,000 spent. So you can argue that point both ways. And I personally like to see that this would do some more thought. And, you know, I know a lot of people say, well, maybe people in your realm, you could take 3 different polls, 3 different days by 3 different people, and you're going to get a different result each time. But I would honestly say that probably 80% of the people that I've come in contact the last 15 years, or more so the last 10, more so the elderly, think it ought to be state, you know, homecoming. So I can see both sides, but I think we ought to slow down and really dive into this and see what is warranted, you know.
Well, when we take the subject up, I mean, there's a lot of emotion, a lot of practicality involved in some mix. I would just want to reiterate based on what Ted said, is the charter states clearly, except as otherwise provided by law or this charter, all powers of the town shall be vested in the town council, which shall be the general legislative body of the town. The town council shall constitute the municipal office of the town of Lincoln. So all responsibility falls upon us.
But you said, it says except for what's specifically in the charter.
As otherwise provided by law on this charter, except as otherwise provided.
Right, and he's arguing that this is otherwise provided for in the charter.
I don't agree, but again, we need to analyze it. We're not gonna make that decision now, but it's a good point to discuss.
One other point to a different topic. Thank you. I just want to point out that you guys are really dancing on the edges of having illegal meetings when you get together and sneak into other rooms with 3 or more counselors discussing how you're going to vote in the meeting. I don't think you advertised that in the paper. I don't think you gave people plenty of time. There is state law that covers that. So I just want to let you know that you're dancing on thin ice.
We are aware of the law.
And we saw that.
Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
I'm Jack Timmons, by the way.
Mr. Chairman, might we table this and have a poll, maybe out through the newspaper or something, and see what the public really would like?
Point of order. We're in
Open forum.
open forum. We need to hold off on that.
Until there is, and there's the order for that particular issue. Anybody else for open forum? Ladies first.
Maggie Rogers. The last time I was before you guys, I came on behalf of Reads Across America, asking to help cover the rest of our donations. I'm happy to report that the town of Lincoln did not have to donate any money, as private donors did step up after that meeting, and we actually covered more than what we need. So we'll have more donations getting ready for next year, and we'll already hit the ground running. So I just wanted to report that to you guys.
That speaks great for your community effort. I'm glad we were just a backup. Yes, sir.
Vernon Crocker, Cemetery Parks Director. Real quick, 2 quick things. First, I'd like to introduce my new Recreation Administrative Assistant, Taylor Watton. She started today, was her first day. I think she brings a lot to the job, and I think she's going to be a great asset. Second thing, real quick, I just wanted to provide an update on something that was in my monthly report. I have spoken to Joe Brown. He has reached out to Steve Whitney, who was a part of the light project with the walking trails back when that was in process. They said they could get light to those poles that are up there because as of right now, they're inactive. And that would be no charge other than what the monthly bill would be. And lights themselves are about $100 to $150 a piece estimated. I would have to talk to Versant on that first because the lights come from Versant. They don't come from Joe, but that was an estimate that Joe had. That's the most recent update I got. I need to put a work order in with Versant to get that started. Something I'll work on this week. That's all I had.
Yes.
How many lights do you think we're gonna need?
There's Joe said 3. There's 1 light pole that I'm cautious about because if it's not angled correctly, it could cause too much brightness in the house that butts up against the community gardens. So that's a question that I would ask the Versant people that come take a look at it. But Joe said that the 2 other poles would be enough to light up that area. And if they can angle that they can angle that light enough up towards the back of the field, I don't think it would be an issue, but that's for someone who does that for a living too. Yep. I got to put the work order in, and once it's kind of up to Versant's timeline, which I don't have an answer for that at this time. And I'll work with it.
Good job. Thank you.
Anybody else for open forum? Rock?
Yeah, I'm John Nelson, Gary Gordon Veteran Center. And I wanted to ask the council, you don't have to ask now, but in the past, we've given donations to the Cobb Fund and some others. And when I asked where the money went to, like the money tonight, when it was given for donations, said Department Library, it goes into the general fund. And my question is, how's the accountability handled for these funds? The Cobb Fund, the McGregor Fund, the others. I didn't see anything in the budget that was given out about having a library fund or whatever. So I'd like to kind of know where the money goes. If it goes in the general fund, how do we discriminate where it should be going? And second, I don't know how the Loon Festival ever came into effect. And if there is some type of problem or can't reach it, I'd suggest why don't we go out on a referendum when we have and let the public decide itself? Because there is a lot, and I don't see how the Loon Festival really gives us anything. In fact, I think it negates some of the people who have been here for quite a while. And I'd like to see that. And I would like to thank you for the wreaths for the veterans. Okay. And shame on you, Mr. Street, not being patriotic enough to vote for it. But don't worry, you're older because I'm older.
Okay, that was out of order, but it's already been said. Well, can we provide an answer as to the funds?
I'll deflect to Melissa on that, as far as how
Yeah.
the money goes down.
I saw her earlier, now she's hidden behind the podium.
Melissa Quintella, treasurer. As some of you already know, there are multiple accounts. We just had Tony Justin from UBS up here to discuss our investment accounts that we have with him. And one of those is the McGregor Fund. So the money is in a separate account labeled the McGregor Fund. The Cobb Fund is in a reserve account with Bangor Savings. We probably have over 100 reserve accounts with Bangor Savings account. They're all designated for different things. These donations that we're getting for like the library do not go into the general fund. They go into a reserve account that we have at Bangor Savings for the library to purchase. Some of times these are donations towards books. Actually, most of the time they're donations towards books, correct, Lauren? Sometimes the person whose family has asked for donations to the library will designate a certain type of book. So Lauren will purchase those books and we will charge that reserve account to purchase those books. The donation that the council was going to make to Reach Across America still sits in the general fund because that is where you folks had voted to have it come from, the undesignated funds. That is our general fund. These donations, when we get heating donations, they go into a separate account specifically for that. And if you read your last audit report you received, you will see all of these different accounts and they label them as such in the audit report. So they are not missing funds anywhere. They're just not reported as such when the auditors report them. That is the true value of those. And the auditors are looking at every single one of these and what comes in and goes out of those.
Thank you.
And these, I'll just look at this. 3 different towns, Lincoln, Union, First One. How the property cards look and the detail is on highlighted on that at the end. But that's just an example of this being one thing to the other in different towns. I'm not sure I can get this done in 3 minutes. If I can
Do your best.
Well, it's not gonna happen. My name's Byron Sanderson. I live in Lincoln. I work for an assessing company that did the revaluation of both Enfield and Lowell, doing the same thing Lincoln asked me to do. I had no interest in going back out in the field and doing this. Ruth will tell you that. But I thought The town's budget is spread out over everybody on record. Taxpayers are carrying everyone who is not paying their share. So I thought if I can find record of properties not taxed properly, this would help the rest that are. What I will express here is solely my opinion based on what I've seen. The record keeping and updating of records in both the code enforcement and assessing offices are lacking, to say the least. I was told building permits were discovered in boxes that were not.
I'm sorry.
Some of this expression came from town employees. I will give you examples that will prove that.
Okay,
of
but
what I
is
was
this the
shown.
correct forum to do this or should? Never let a disparagement of town employees in public forum. No, okay, so just state the
This wasn't
facts that you
employees, this
have in
was
numbers,
offices. Okay, we'll go by that. I was told building permits were discovered in boxes that were not on record. Thus, when a home was built, there was no record of it and as a result, not taxed. I believe this is a result of not having full-time employees filled with one person per department, like one experienced code enforcement officer, an assessor whose job is the assessing department, not covering two other full-time positions. Too much. This is not what the taxpayers of this town deserve. This was a result of a lack of leadership, which falls on the past town manager. I received names and maps of properties to look at. The names given on the maps did not always correspond with the names I had for the addresses and tax map information. I found one whose camp was not even on the side of the road the map showed. A new home on a property that only the value of an old mobile home on it and no record of the new home. Most of the properties I visited were around the various ponds. Over and over, there were cabins and campers that run their gray water on the ground. Many of the properties were still listed as land value only. On Half Township Road, there is more than one camper or cabin that has a hole dug and a sewer line run into the hole with plywood over it. I question that when a septic tank and leach field gets approved and put in, if the capacity is designed for what ends up in it, like 3 campers, several cabins that all end up using it. Is there a follow-up each and every time?
May I interrupt you for a second?
Yes, sir.
You're giving us several examples of what you found.
Mm-hmm.
I think a summary is good for the sake of time. I think you're addressing the fact that we have a problem that needs to be corrected. I think rather than go on with everything that you found, which is true and interesting, do you have a recommendation to make?
Yeah.
You can go ahead and ask a question if you like.
Like the rest of the, if I may, because one thing, you already said that it's gonna take you quite a while. This is a topic.
I'm halfway through.
How much? Yeah, well, this is a topic that we are going to want to go into in more detail. I would think that we would want him to come and be part of the workshop for us at some point.
Yes.
Well, it's my understanding regularly to be for God.
This Saturday coming.
Oh,
My intent was only to give this council, and many of it's new, the reasons why you need to be more involved. And so I'm giving examples of things that weren't done properly and that we need involvement. One other thing,
I would like to hear the rest of your prepared. As you get ready to leave.
yeah, we're done. Trying to get back to where it was. A new home, okay, I did that. Most of the properties I visited were around the various ponds. Over and over, there were cabins and campers that run gray water on the ground. Many of the properties were still listed as land owned. Did that. I did that, so. There is one parcel of land on New Camp Road that shows just land value. I explained to the assessor that the driveway was a nice gravel road, though not used much lately. So I walked about a quarter mile up it. There is a whole compound up there, and this is just my expression of, there's a lot of buildings. A big home, a separate huge 2.5-story building that housed a garage on the bottom level and living quarters on the upper levels. I took pictures of dozens of discarded tires, dozens of empty 5-gallon buckets, hydraulic oil, transmission oil on this property. I showed Ruth the pictures and she remembered who originally owned the property and that there was even a cemetery on it. The buildings are older, but the tax info shows only land. If we knew the previous owner and what was on it, why is there no building values? Were the building values under the previous owner listed? Why did the building value stop being listed and thus taxed? There are a number of properties I visited that show a land value only, but have campers or cabins with a well and septic system. Some with driveways in, well, power, septic. Have these places acquired the proper septic permits? If so, why are the land values not showing this? I feel the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing. And I just mean the communication between the two departments. All of this is causing the taxpayers more out of their pockets. In the paper, it was stated that all town properties have been all updated with a 3-year look back. I never even finished the properties I was given maps to go out and do because it was getting cold. I needed to get ready for what I had coming up. So that was not really accurate or true in the paper. They haven't all been done. I have done only a fraction of the properties, contrary to what was printed in the paper. But you can bet this is going on around all bodies of water, the gray water discharges and non-tax buildings, as well as in some in-town properties. This falls directly on the former town manager and who the council hires as a new town manager. They need to make it clear people need to have experience, do their jobs, and in critical jobs like code enforcement and assessing, do only their jobs and not a host of add-ons. In conclusion, we have a very serious problem in the town of Lincoln in code enforcement and tax assessing. I've witnessed that. From hiring qualified people in very important positions, maintaining proper training, as well as conducting reviews of job performance. I have inspected over 150 properties and believe there to be over $1 million of property value not on the books. Much more had I covered more areas. Some will say the town reevaluation will get everything up to date, which it should, but what are the years of non-recorded values? Every taxpayer has had to carry that cost. Next spring, as soon as possible, all properties with waterfront need to be visited by the code enforcement officer. This is just for starters. The town promotes all lakes and ponds. We should make sure they are being protected. Questions that need answers. What is going to be done with the properties that have been taxed appropriately, have not been taxed appropriately, back tax collected? What about the properties I did not visit? There are far more than what I visited. Can the taxpayers be assured the failures of these departments will not happen again? And in another matter, I hope this town council will change something in the charter or make it a condition that any town manager hired moving forward must take up residence in the town of Lincoln, thus really being a part of the town and be vested in the town. I'll be happy to answer any questions council has. And if I could review what you guys just looked at, that very first one that just had a person's name and their values of land and property. That's what Lincoln shows on a property card. The other ones are 3 other towns that have the detail. You can see a picture of the home from the street view. You see a sketch of what's on that property. If any one of us had a property, took out a shed, took out a deck, wanted to look back and see on the property if it really got taken off. We don't have that ability. It's not on those drawings. We'd have to come to the town, have it looked up to find out, because we don't show a deck, we don't show a porch, we don't show garages, we don't have anything that show, we just have building value. So whatever happens after this reval, you really need to invest in a system that's going to show details. And I hope you do.
Well, I think we thank you for pointing out a problem that we know it exists. I hope that you will leave that with a copy of your findings with us. I think we have your recommendations and we're beginning to look into it. I mean, we're aware of it. So I think you just brought to the surface something we began to discuss already. Yes, sir.
Byron, you stated that you didn't have all the properties. You think there's maybe another 200 or 300 properties that needs to be looked at?
No, of the ones I were given for what I'd given Ruth that I thought I'd be here and available to still do it. I cut it a week, 2 weeks short. I only had about a week and a half left of properties that I had been given. But that's nowhere near all the property on the lakes. I mean, I was told an example on Crooked of a whole settlement of campers and cabins that they knew was there. I never got to it.
Well, I guess it's something we have to take up and find the proper team, the equipment. A lot of these things today can be done with drones rather than just footpath, it's a combination of everything. But we thank you for it.
I'm not sure
Doing such a great job.
you can find out the properties, but of course the reval team that's coming forward will
You gotta get
measure,
measure.
give you sketches.
Yeah, we just need to make sure that as a council, we understand the mission and the task that we're going to give to whoever does the work, so it's done right the first time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Byron.
Yes, sir.
If I could comment on this, we have an executive session scheduled for this Wednesday, which the assessing department is a topic of.
Okay. Anybody else for open forum? Yes, sir.
My name's Jerry Ireland. I'm a Lincoln resident. I live in South Lincoln. Born and raised here. Parents were born and raised here, my grandparents and my great grandparents. So I feel like I have a little bit of right to Lincoln. Off topic, but for what it's worth, I like homecoming. I'm not a senior quite yet, so maybe note that. I'm a little bit nervous. I did never come here before, and I'm only here today out of frustration and kind of a last ditch effort because I've exhausted all opportunity to try to rectify the situation. Over the last 6 months, I've been going through a personal situation, and I've relied on the court, our district judge, instead of having a heated head and dealing with things in the wrong way. I tried to do the right thing. I've acquired a protection order that was difficult to get through court. That came through with a hearing, with a finding of abuse, and very clear instruction from our district judge as to what was and was not supposed to happen. Since July 1st, the perpetrator of that protection order has been arrested some 6 times, convicted 3 times since July 1st for violating the protection order, and has 4 charges outstanding at this time. That includes assault while violating the protection order. My frustration at this point is it seems that there are certain personnel within the Lincoln Police Department and an attitude within the leadership of the Lincoln Police Department that I am now wrong for the amount of times that a complaint is made, and it's exhausting them. And they don't want to take a complaint. And I'm frustrated. I'm frustrated as of Friday, the harassment, the stalking, the lies that are now being okayed by portions of the law enforcement in our town. And it's not right. I have a couple of questions and a couple of things for you to think about. If in fact our chief is exhausted with these menial things, maybe it's time we look at and direct a way to start writing a citation for making a false report for misuse of 911. I have 4 instances this year alone in which a false report was made by someone intoxicated and drunk that brought multiple police cars to my home with lights flashing, only to find out the story was made up
and they spend over an hour talking to a deranged alcoholic individual. And guess what? Nothing happens. That's a false report. That's misuse of our resources. Yet they're not making any fine. That's an area where this council could look at recouping some of the costs for law enforcement, because that is not right. As of even Saturday, the PFA was violated. But guess what? I did my Lincoln duty and I didn't contact Lincoln Police because they're not going to do anything anymore. There was a court case on Friday, right here at the district court. That person left the district court, called a friend of mine and said, hey, you need to call Jerry and tell him that he needs to get a haircut because he looks like a pedophile. That is a direct violation of the PFA. And I have a dozen cases just like this pending that they're doing nothing about. And this allows the perpetrator to keep doing what they're doing. And now we've come to a point where I am now the problem, because as the victim, I'm complaining about it. And it's not right. I have solid evidence. I have solid issues here. DUIs that have been turned the other way. Officers, senior officers on our department that miraculously forgot to turn the camera on. This individual committed an assault locally, was drunk. Every person in the establishment was shocked that they did not get arrested for a DUI. They were so drunk in the establishment. The cop came in, pulled them over, had a 5-minute conversation, let them go on their way. And this veteran officer of our department miraculously forgot to make an incident report about the stop.
Point of order. Get it first.
I haven't listed a name. It is personal to me.
You're getting to the point where it's identifiable.
Oh. At the end of all of this, I mean, I don't want to put anything out personally, but I am frustrated. And the reason I'm here is because earlier today, I had hired a law firm in Bangor, and I'm going to take this to the next level. But I want to give this council an opportunity to look at this, because what is happening is not right. There's a culture here or a leadership or some kind of problem that is not right. And if I was standing before you as a different sex, this would not be the problem. And I'm guarantee you, I know 2 other cases in town that involve the PFA, that the same similar situation is taking place. And something needs to be done.
Well, I think the first thing I would ask you is to provide us a copy of your documentation so we can properly follow up. You know, the PFI, everything that you have filed, that we should have in order to look for facts, to follow up on your complaint.
I understand what you're saying, but you know how hard it is to try to get a police report out of our local police department?
Well,
They might have more information than I do.
okay. Give a memo to the town manager with the facts that you have, and we'll put it together.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you. Anybody else for open forum? Yes, sir.
I would like to move agenda 19 forward. Before agenda 9, because the gentlemen are from out of town. So they can do their presentation and
Any objection?
on their way.
Please. Change the order.
The gentleman giving the report on number 9 is also from out of town.
Okay.
I didn't know that, 19 had the presentation.
I think it's just gonna be, I'm just talking about, I didn't say presentation, I just said, item 19, 'cause I don't think it's gonna, 3 minutes and they're gonna be done.
It's a vote on an issue. I think we can do it.
You.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So item 19 is move to approve the closing of Prince Thomas Park parking lot to vehicle and traffic and the beach area to pedestrian traffic on May 15, 16, 17, 2026, I assume, not 2025.
Yeah.
And if you close the vote, open forum. No formally.
As far as him, Councilor Ireland, but did anybody else here have anything?
No, I heard nothing, so now of course one. Anyways, so 2026, to accommodate the South Shore outboard races on Matanawa Cliff.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Vote. Oh,
Yes, we gotta do a roll call.
Take the roll call because it passes.
Who seconded that?
I did,
We're 19, right? Counselor Clay,
yes.
Counselor Handington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand.
Yeah.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes,
Counselor Moisen,
yes, Simon will yes.
Thank you. I just one comment, Jeff Moran from Shelter Upwood. I want to recognize Jerry Davis. He's a town employee. He was Rookie of the Year this year. He got an award at our annual banquet. And he's done a fantastic job. We get you this thing in the final line. Sure. Jeff Moran, Bradley, Maine, Shelter Upwood Association. Jerry Davis was the recipient of Rookie of the Year this year. He's a custodian up to, he's been code enforcement, been in town for many years. And also, Councilor Ireland did some photos. There are a magazine, national magazine with Lincoln photos in it and a real good national write-up. So the town of Lincoln has been very gracious to us, and we are very happy to come back again and entertain the crew. Thank you.
Bring more people who have good hotels.
We will bring more people.
Good.
They love Lincoln.
Thank you. Excellent news. Thank you.
We raced in Pennsylvania, a place called Rock Haven. And it turns into a circus down there because of the same atmosphere. It's great downtown restaurants.
A good circus.
Yeah. They have carnival in town, band and all that. It draws people from all the way to from the West Coast. And it's become a big thing as far as APBA voted it race site of the year in 2019. This is a site that could be as good as that.
Great news. Thank you. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Thank you much.
Yeah, apologize for now.
Okay, so now we go back to number one, economic development update.
Good evening. Hello again. I'm Steve Levesque, and I'm your economic. I've been involved with the town on a consulting basis for about 3.5 years. And I just I've given you a bunch of materials for you to look at, updates. I also have some maps and marketing stuff, but I just want to really focus on the mill site and why it's important. You know, it's a big challenge in Maine. We've had, 18 mills closed down in 2 military bases. And I've been involved with a number of those and trying to redevelop those. And it's a challenge. You lose your employment base, you lose a tax base. It's a significant issue. And redeveloping these properties takes a substantial commitment. And if you look around the state, it's the communities that really take charge of the efforts are the ones that have been most successful. We really have an opportunity to reduce the tax burden in the community, to enhance tax base, and to get new employment in your community to replace what was lost when the mill was here. There's 3. I don't want to read everything that's in your packet, but there's 3 major pillars to redeveloping the mill site. One of them is being an old mill site, it has some environmental issues. And we have to address those in order to get redevelopment activity going. And the biggest issue we have at the mill site, while we have some PCBs and a few other things in the soils, the biggest issue is the asbestos in the buildings. And we have a solution that we're dealing with that, which I'll go over. And the next thing is we have to replace aging infrastructure. Water lines, sanitary sewer lines, roadways, lighting, stormwater, all those types of things to make it attractive for business development. And the third element, obviously, is we need to attract new business investment to the property. And we're working on all three of those simultaneously. And I'll kind of go over those with you a little bit. So just kind of give you a sense, we've received over 13 or 17, nearly $17 million for environmental remediation and infrastructure improvements from the federal government, from the state, and from Eastern Maine Development Corporation. And a number of projects that we've done. Clearly, we've did some work to clean the biofine site. That's been done. We removed buildings 6 and 7. We developed an asbestos containment area. And as I mentioned, we have a big asbestos problem. And if we were to take all the asbestos in the buildings we have, which is about 15 million cubic yards, it would cost us between $12 and $15 million to truck and ship it to a landfill. We actually were able to work with our DEP and get a permit to consolidate all our asbestos on the site. That saves us, the town, $12 to $15 million. And that's the work's been done. And asbestos is actually going in there right now. It will be covered and sealed. But it's a permit through DEP, and it's really kind of the first time they've ever done that. They won't let us accept any waste from any other properties. However, it's just from our mill site, but it really saves us a lot of money, and it's a terrific solution for us. Going forward, and these are some of the activities that we have. I mentioned biofine. We did some remediation there. The old lagoon for the old wastewater treatment facility had to be dewatered, and we'll be removing the sludge from that last year. That comes from a grant from EPA, $750,000. We have a $5 million grant from EPA that's in current active activity that we're removing the old powerhouse property there. We also have a $425,000 project that is going to be removal of building 22 in the scale shack. And that's ongoing right now. And you actually have an agenda item next that's going to talk about accepting a very good loan from DECD as part of that. You got $425,000, $200,000 of that is a loan, and $225,000 is a grant from the state on that. I mentioned the asbestos consolidation area. That was another $1 million program grant from the state of Maine. On the infrastructure side, we have a $3.5 million congressional direct spending to extend Depot Street, to improve Depot Street coming into the property with new roadway, new water and sewer lines, street lighting, really improve that. $3.5 million. We're working with HUD on that, and we hope to go to bid on that this winter, so we can do work on that this summer. We also have another application pending. We have another $7 million in $9 million in applications that are pending with the federal government. One of them is for $4 million to extend infrastructure on the Scale Street side. So the goal here, if you look at your maps, make infrastructure improvements at both entrances to the property. As we remove all the problematic buildings in the middle, then we'll connect those. So that's kind of where we are. We're waiting for Congress. That was approved by the Senate Appropriations Committee, and now it's just waiting for Congress final approval on that appropriation. So that right there is, over nearly $7.5 million just on infrastructure work. We're also on the business development side. There's a number of projects. We do have an industrial wastewater facility that we're trying to fund, trying to get through processing on that. That's a large project that would support Biofine as well as new development there just for industrial wastewater. We really can't, we thought we could use the existing lagoon. But structurally we can't do that. We can't reuse, we can use parts of it, but we can't repurpose that. So that we have to look at other alternatives and working with our engineers on that issue. Also, we want to make improvements to the rail system. The rail system coming into the property. The property has some great assets from a business development perspective. We have rail, we have natural gas, we have three-phase power, and we're close to the interstate. That's significant. That, you know, that's the envy of a lot of other communities. So from a business development perspective, it's pretty exciting. We have a number of things we're working on the business development side. Obviously, we have the Biofine project, which we've been working on for several years. They're actually going to be making a presentation to you folks next month at your January meeting on where they are. They've been doing that periodically to the council, so they'll give you an update on their project. We have a project that's a signed agreement with a company called Form Energy. They want to build a battery storage facility that connects to the whole New England grill to kind of manage capacity in the region. It's not about, you know, renewable energy. It's really about managing energy capacity and dealing with the fluctuations. That's a $500 million project. And they're just waiting for final approval from the Department of Education. It's part of a New England system. Just between Biofine and Form Energy, when they happen, will be several hundred new jobs in the community. We estimate that it'll be about $2 million in new property tax revenue, new property and personal property tax revenue, and about $600,000 a year in lease revenue to the mill site. And when we look at projects and we're talking to developers, we're talking to a number of other developers and who are interested in doing projects. We look at job creation, we look at tax-based generation, and we look at lease revenue for the community. Because you own the mill site, and you have a number of subsidiaries, which we can talk about in a further workshop, but it's a significant parcel that has really some real exciting opportunities. And we're working with other companies. We also are building, we have a $3.86 million grant from the Economic Development Administration to build a incubator, a small business incubator and workforce development center right in that parking lot on Depot Street as you go into the parcel. That's been approved, and we're just waiting for final federal sign off for that. We have match money from the Maine Rural Development Authority, as well as the Northern Border Regional Commission. So we're checking all the boxes there. But the real opportunity is there's some significant opportunities with the mill site. You know, the town was very bold in acquiring that site. Other towns haven't done that, and they're still sitting around waiting for golden, you know, for that golden parachute or that white knight to come in. But you folks have done that. And I see these activities all around the state. I used to run the Department of Economic Development, and what you've done for a small town took some guts, and you did it, and you got some amazing momentum going. I mean, $17 million in a little over 3 years with another $9 million pending. And we're going to be applying for another $12 to $15 million here right after the turn of the year for more environmental cleanup. And we're going to get some of those. Not going to get all of them, but we're going to get some of those. And the agencies that are funding us are impressed with what we're doing, which is why they want to keep funding us, because they like the momentum. The state, we got great support from the state. We have great support from the federal government. And it's really important to have that piece. Our congressional delegation, our 2 senators are supporting us, as well as our Congress people. So having that alignment as well as the state legislature is really critical as we move forward. So, you know, just from my perspective, it's important to keep the momentum, and I'd love to see you folks let's stay with this, because it's meaning a lot, and it's going to have some significant tangible impacts to the community. I know your big concern is taxes, tax base. This is how you build a tax base, but you have to have a long view for this too. I've given you also a little vision statement of what the mill site is and what we hope to achieve with that, just a little piece, as well as kind of our work plan and where we are on our 2025 work plan. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Go ahead.
Steve, I know that I've heard some people who question two things. One is why we haven't seen anybody break ground yet. And the second is why we haven't seen why the work that's being done on the site is not obvious.
Well, the big challenge with breaking ground is we have to deal with the environmental and infrastructure issues. We have one good building. That's building number 8, which is where Biofine wants to go. And expand from there. They started off originally, they were going to do 3 acres. Now they're up to 7-acre parcel. They're expanding their footprint, more lease revenue, more tax revenue. So they're moving forward, and they'll give you a full briefing on that. But we've had a number of companies that we've talked to. We can't go into an existing building, so they would have to build a new building. We'd have to extend infrastructure. So, but we are talking to businesses, and as we build momentum here, we hope to start breaking ground. We've got some companies that are very interested, and they want to do something. We tell them that you need to line up your money. We say, we want a capital stack. We don't want to have to be subsidized by the town or everybody else here. So, we talk to a lot of companies, and a lot of companies are walking around. They see distressed properties, and they think that the government is there to make their project successful. So, those are the challenges you have. I wish we didn't have that. I ran a redevelopment in Brunswick, and I've worked with Loring, and the same issues. We have to deal with the environmental issues. You deal with those, and you have some land. You improve the infrastructure, then you can attract those businesses. But we're out there marketing. We have a marketing brochure. We went to a big trade show last week. We're trying to attract mass timber companies, forest products companies. We've had a company that was interested in putting a sawmill. We have a company that's looking at a biomass facility that would also fuel some potential greenhouses. So we have a number of people in the hopper, but I don't want to talk about those until they're real. All right, because you've had an issue a number of years ago where you had a company that wasn't quite real, and you announced it and it never happened. And I don't want to do that to you.
David had asked for.
David first. Go ahead, David.
Mr. Levesque, I'm looking on the page 2 of your report, and it's the 12th bullet point down. Can you just enlighten me a little bit, because I'm a little confused? It says, and I'm not sure if this is referring to revision, please, or Form Energy, but it says, unfortunately, due to changes in federal solar policy, the project has been canceled. So what project has been canceled?
That was the Revision Solar Farm.
Right. Sure.
Revision Energy was proposing a solar farm on the property. It would be a community solar farm that could also serve as providing some low-cost energy to the mill site. And there's been some changes in the federal policy on solar, so that project is canceled.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Levesque, I'm a realist. If we are sitting on this money, you got the scale house, you got the house, the entrance of Cotton Avenue, you got buildings that could be taken down. That's probably not, and I think that's what the people want to see, is see things happening. And as far as workforce development, we don't have a work base here anymore. The average logger in this town is probably 52 years old. And you take with all the mills that's gone down, you're not going to be cutting enough revenue as far as marketable product to acquire that biomass. And it's not like it was 15 years ago when you harvest 300,000 cords and you had a 89-year-old biomass that we could get rid of. What biomass you have now, you haul it back into the woods to tread on, to keep the forest stable. So I think all of this is fine and great, but we have a company that hasn't even reached out to any companies as far as even market biomass we've got 3 or 4 big suppliers in the area, and they haven't even reached out to those contractors, to my knowledge, when I talked to them, to require this biomass needed. So
And if we're setting on all this monies, why isn't progress being made in those places that's not hazardous?
Well, those are good points. I mean, obviously, the Biofine does have contracts for buying, as well as, they're gonna take wood waste and turn it into home heating fuel. And then some other products, and that's a great question for them, asking where their markets are, but I mean, they've been pretty public about those. And they are working with a number of entities that can provide some product for them. Obviously, like with all these places, and ultimately, we're gonna have to develop some new workforce. The people who worked in the mill are retired for the most part. And so that's one of the reasons the Innovation Center and Workforce Development Center, to work with a technical college, work with our technical high school, in developing that next generation of workers. And we're looking at new technologies too. The problem with, and I grew up in Lewiston. Milltown, right? 60% of that population was employed in the shoes and textile industry. It all went south. So you have to train, you have to think about new technologies to replace it. The problem we have in most of these communities is they're one horse towns. You had the paper mill here and the Millinocket and the East Millinocket and all, you had the paper mills. That's what fueled the region's economy. Going forward, you need to have a much more diversified base of economic development in your community to be successful. So that's what we're looking at. How do we diversify? I mean, we have a large piece of land. We have, we're looking at different types of business so that they're not just focusing on one thing. It's hard work. And, you work with everybody, hoping that you'll get some. You're competing with every other community in the state and every other community in the world right now, for investment. So the bottom line is we make our site attractive. It has some great assets that we want to promote. It's a great community. It's a wonderful, livable community. And I'm a veteran, so I really appreciate the military spirit in this community. And it's heartening to see, but people see that. And one of the things we're going to talk about in a few minutes is the workforce housing. We want to build some workforce housing that can accommodate not only the existing workforce or people who work in a hospital, people who are policemen and firemen, so they don't have to commute into the community, but also future workers in the town. So that's what we're trying to do here, is trying to build a comprehensive approach.
Anybody else? Any other comments? I have some. You touch on a very important point, which is people infrastructure. And I'll get to another point that bothers me a lot ever since I came into town 4 years ago. Does Biofine have a personnel infrastructure now that says how many people we need, of what capabilities, what training? Most companies that have the proper funding and the vision are already contracting the schools or setting up the schools to attract and hire the people. So when we break down and something is built, the way it sounds right now, we're looking at pie in the sky, and then when buildings are there, we're going to start looking for people. Somehow the cart is before the horse.
Councilor, that's a great question. I mean, I know they are thinking about that. They're trying to figure out what skill sets they're going to need and how develop those relationships with the university and others regarding certain skill sets and developing that. I don't know the status of their workforce plan, but I think that's a great question to ask them.
We need to have it. We need to have it like yesterday.
No, I think that's a great question for them.
And also, what is the real capital of Biofine? I've been doing some due diligence. For what I can find, Biofine is a paper company. They don't exist. When I ask the question, where do they have a facility? Lincoln, Maine. That's the wrong answer.
They're a fairly new company. They do have a pilot facility in Old Town where they've been piloting their technologies for the past 10 years. So they do exist, and they're more than just on paper. Obviously, they need to develop their infrastructure. Yes, they are a new company that haven't built a plant like this. Counselor, no one has.
That's
know,
okay.
Why are we
We're
finding it's a
open for
very new
something
industry? And
But as they say in Kansas, show me. I think we ought to be invited on a tour of their facilities, see their financial statement. How much money do they really have to invest? Or they're waiting for our grants. You know, there's a lot of things that are loose. Go ahead, sir.
I think that you're bringing up a number of things that when they come to speak to us next month, that we could provide them, say, these are some of the questions we have. So they're prepared next month to be able to answer.
absolutely.
No, it would be wonderful. If they're real, it will be great. But again, there are certain things that have to be done. By the time they break ground, that infrastructure you're talking about has to be taken care of.
You are absolutely correct. And that's what we try to work with businesses, and we want to see what their capital formation, what I call a capital stack, what that looks like, what makes that up. They're not looking for a lot of government subsidies here. It's probably $140 million project. There's going to be some federal stuff and maybe some local things that we're doing, but I think for the most part, it's going to be private capital.
They'll be wonderful.
And they'll update you on all of that.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anybody else?
Keep on going. Keep on doing what we're doing.
Yes,
Okay.
until proven otherwise.
All right.
So next item is approve a loan or grant for the amount of $200,000 with the State Department of Economic and Community Development for a term of 20 years at 1.5% interest for remediation of building number 22 at the former mill site.
So moved, loan, not grant. The grant is a separate 225 million. That,
25,000.
it's 1,000 that is, goes with this.
Okay, I just read it as is written.
Yeah, it doesn't say grant, so.
Approved loan grant. And the title.
Oh, I see up here.
Yeah.
Down below.
That's
You have to accept both of them, the loan
Yes,
and the
you
grant.
can't have the loan without the grant.
Okay, that's fine. That is clear. So
Yes, I'm so moved.
do we, you move second
Second for discussion.
discussion? Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, if we have all this grant money, why are we asking the taxpayers to take a loan out at 1.5%? I mean, if we're sitting on $16, $17 million.
Well, we're not sitting on it. This is money that's allocated for specific projects. So we applied for a specific grant for building 22 in the scale chapter, a grant, DCD has grant loans. So they do a combination. And the way we structure the loan is that it's 1.5% for 20 years. Once the mill site is profitable. That's how the loan docs work. So it's really deferred dollars, but you have to, and so we have to apply for each of the projects. We have to apply for them separately.
So this building 22 is the scale.
No, it's two projects. It's building 22 and the scale house.
What building is 22? I'm familiar.
It's the building right as you go into the property off Depot Street. You know, the roof caving in, we've already started taking that down. We had some other grant money, loan money to take it down. Now this is going to finish that. The building next door to that, and you asked, well, what progress is? So that building's coming down right now. Building 6 and 7, which was a big building next to that came down last year. We're taking down the powerhouse, the big powerhouse right now. So there's a number of things. If you can see the activity that's going on. So that's what this is. It's really part of the continuum.
So is this an exact amount to take these buildings down?
Yeah.
Or is it an inflated price? Because I talked to a contractor and it was stated to me that it was stated to him at 20% because it's grant money.
I don't know about that because we have to go to bid on all this stuff. We have to go to competitive bid. I'm not aware of that. That wouldn't be legal. Just say that.
Okay, but you said correctly, competitive bid.
It's competitive bid, sir.
So I want to have you repeat something. So this money, the town does not, the taxpayers pay nothing until not the company, but the actual, our part of the project, what is it, Lincoln, Industrial, whatever, makes a profit?
Yes,
And how far off are we thinking that's going to be? Because we're not going to make a profit
could
off
be
it,
10, 20 years.
right? Before we would start.
And then
paying.
once there's revenue that's coming in, then that can be used to help pay off these sums.
Right, so nothing for 10 or 20 years that we owe at all.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
what loan institution is gonna loan someone $200,000 and not expect a payment on
State of Maine,
it?
because they want us to see us redevelop the site. It's part of the Brownfields program. Money actually goes through the state from the federal government.
Okay, I think in order that we've discussed what we'd like to see some timetable.
Yes,
The next
absolutely.
presentation is with all the questions we've asked, and I think a timetable is critical.
I'm confused. Are you saying a timetable before we vote on this?
No, for the
Oh.
whole world
Oh,
project.
okay, all right.
So. Ready to take a vote? We have a second and so, and
Counselor Clay,
yes,
Counselor Hanington,
No.
Counselor Ireland,
no,
Counselor Rand,
no,
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
no,
Counselor Moisten.
Yes.
Yes.
she said yes. Okay. So next item. Authorize RFQ, which translates in my language to request for quotations. Suggested motion. Move to authorize the economic development team to move forward the development of the workforce housing project by selecting a development team of Dooryard and Mainland Store Tree Line to partner with the town. Do we have a motion on this?
Motion. Okay.
Second,
Second for discussion.
discussion?
Why didn't we not receive a full detail what this is about, or was you just gonna wait for the presentation?
I sent you a memo. You have a memo in your packet on this, and I can give you a brief, I can,
I saw the memo.
okay. So, I mean, bottom line is, we've been working with the town council and Lincoln Lakes Innovation Corporation, which kind of oversees the mill site redevelopment. We've been working on this for well over a year to look at opportunities. Obviously, you talked about the need for housing in the community and more housing for the workforce. We own some land adjacent to the mill site off Katahdin Avenue. And there used to be some housing in there as part of the old mill site. You basically get to revisit that, recreate that. We went out to request for qualifications from developers who may be interested in partnering with the town. We still have to figure out what that means and how that's going to be organized. We received some 3 qualification statements from a company called Dooryard, which does housing development around the state, infill housing development, particularly in rural communities. Tree Line, which is Brian's here. We've done some development in the community, building some housing development, and Penquist, who does housing, particularly more affordable, low-income housing. So our goal here is workforce housing at the moderate income, not subsidized housing here. And the idea is that we would work with these developers, and Tree Line and Dooryard they want to collaborate. So we have the experience of some statewide development activity in small communities, as well as the local developer who's done some work. We think that collaboration could be very strong here, and to develop some good housing for workers in our community. So we'd like to just work with them to develop an agreement to see how we can make this work. So that's what we're asking for, is to really allow us to work with that group and negotiate an agreement that we bring back to you.
Okay.
I'm
I'm a little confused as to why we would need a motion to do that. You know, if private businesses want to collaborate.
Because we own the property, Counselor.
Okay.
We own the land and
I
it's
understand.
adjacent to the mill site. And I don't want to do anything that's going to get out ahead of the council. So it's,
But we don't really know this concept of how it's going to.
we're going to develop that with,
manifest.
I mean, we have some concept plans that was in the packet, but we want to be able to work with them, come back with a plan of action and an agreement of how that's going to work.
So is this like potential housing for future businesses at the mill site?
It's future businesses at the mill site. It's housing for the people who work in the hospital, for not only attracting people, but for retaining people in our community. A lot of people are commuting to Lincoln to work. Obviously, it's about having more of those people locate here. And it's a need. EMDC did a study, I think last year, and Lincoln was one of the communities that could benefit from some new moderate price housing.
I hate to bring this up, but having, with what we just did on, the, not approving the loan and the thing, is that going to interfere with this project, these people being interested in moving forward?
I don't think so. It's just going to affect, won't be able to tear down building 22.
Okay, so it doesn't stop us from.
No, not this project.
Got it, okay.
The way I read the memo, who will own the land, who will own the homes, because there's the word lease. And I think home ownership is very important. So can you explain what the plan is? If let's go forward and somebody makes a housing development, who's gonna own it? Are the houses gonna be for sale?
So the goal, Counselor, is that we own the land right now. We would sell the land when we have that development plan that we agree to. And that developer would then build the housing and then sell the single family homes. We envision a combination of single family homes, maybe some townhouse condos and some apartments. So that's what the broad vision of that is. And we'd have to work out those deals.
My question was geared because the way I understood the lease, then we were just creating a giant landlord. And I don't think we want that. We do want
Right,
homeownership.
and that's the goal.
So just to a follow-up, so why don't you get proposals from these developers? Bring that, a proposal or whatever, then we could vote then to move on with whatever project.
And we can do that, but this is a step. And I just want to make sure you're comfortable with our step and that we're selecting a team to start negotiating a contract. Like I said, I don't want to get out in front of the council.
Well, if I understand this correctly, this is not gonna cost us any money. We're just helping you promote.
That's right.
Is that correct?
Yeah, and we want to work with that development team to see if we can't develop a plan and
the plan has
negotiate
to
a
approve-
project.
And the plan has to be approved by the council.
Absolutely.
Mr. Chairman, I understand, but my mind's wandering here. The average lot in Lincoln is about $25,000 to $40,000 an acre. Now, is this gonna be what this is gonna be assessed at? Or is it gonna be given to like $200 an acre?
No, it's going to be part of the fabric of the community, whatever the assessed value is. Assessed value. Yeah, but we're not proposing to make any special deals. We want to negotiate a housing project using some land the town control.
Can I ask Councilor Clay a question, since he's been on the town council since Christ was a cowboy? How did we handle like the Penquist project? Was it something similar like what he's proposing, or how did?
When that side of the shoot burned, the time he purchased that. Went into a contract with Penquist, they wanted to build housing in. I think we sold it to him for $1. If my memory is correct, and then they built the rest of it.
But we didn't really need to form.
No, but I understand where he's coming from,
Right.
because, you know, if they just went ahead and did this and the council found out about it, then the council would be crying, oh, you guys are doing something we don't know about.
Right.
So they're
Right.
informing so that we know.
So wouldn't the motion make more sense if it was to give authority or direction to request potential bids for projects and then evaluate?
I think that's kind of what the motion said, that you're just basically authorizing us to negotiate with this team for a project.
Okay,
So,
okay.
That's really what it
I
is.
didn't read it that
Yeah.
way, but I think you're right.
Okay, we're ready for a vote? Sir,
I would like to point out that one of these companies is a local.
yes. Which is important.
Did Ruth have something bad?
Wanted to say, remembering what that stuff can start, exactly correct.
Okay. So we're ready to vote? And
Councilor Clay,
Yes.
Counselor Hamilton,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
yes.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes.
Counselor Moisen.
Yes.
Thumbs up.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you. Well, it's very late.
Gonna happen.
Okay. Next is a presentation by Ashley Mitchell from Save a Life. Ashley here, I haven't seen.
She's right here.
Oh.
See ya.
Ashley Mitchell, I'm the Director of Save Life Public Resources here. Probably most all of you know who I have. I'm in the hallway.
You are, I love your festive.
In your glasses, you got 36 payoff.
She and Elton John.
Um,
Now, as a preamble, before you introduce yourself, we have been talking about some issues of the community that we may not know everything we need to know about. Homelessness, poverty, hunger, drug addiction. And we feel that given your position with Save a Life, you are in a good position to enlighten us as to the problems and potential solutions. You know, one of the things we talked about is food waste, because there are absurd laws that don't let restaurants give away the food, and even if they did, we don't know where it can go. So, you know, we address the problems, we look for solutions, and so hopefully you can help us with that.
Okay. Yep. So in the packet is everything Save a Life does. Down to what our mission is. We are barrier free. That means all of our services are free to anybody, not Lincoln residents. We don't ask any questions. We don't want your income. We don't need your address. We don't need anything. We help everybody regardless. We deal with recovery, education, prevention, and community support services to individuals, family, youth, veterans, and seniors. So I don't have to read my packet to you unless you like me to, but I have statistics on why it's incredibly important for Save a Life to be in our community. In 2022, Penobscot County was the second highest in overdose deaths in the state. On page 2 is everything pretty much we have done in 2025 to now. We hand out essential supplies like lock bags and boxes, clothing, feminine hygiene kits. We've even distributed baby formulas, tick kits, Narcan, first aid, hygiene, everything under the sun. We've referred people to sober housing, detox, substance use counseling, mental health counseling, and support groups. Our attendance numbers are there for you to view, which are in the hundreds. I mean, just 401 people have attended our support groups and recovery activities from January into this month or November. I haven't done December yet. So the needs here, and people are coming and people need help. And we do community events, like when school starts, we handed out 100 backpacks full of school supplies. Again, no questions asked, come in, carry your kids. And all those services were provided. Just in November, we moved a veteran into housing. He was homeless, you know, has housing. We continue to help him with his counseling services, changing order of local VA here in Lincoln. And we've helped 11 veterans so far in a variety of services like counseling, finding jobs, finding work, regular support groups. And we help people in the community find employment. We work very closely with EMDC. We're part of their jail diversion program and youth program. So we help people who, instead of going to jail, find work, and veterans find work, seniors, everyone under the sun. I mean, personally, I have my own kid in the program for their youth program to find work. So are there any questions?
I heard a rumor there's about 20 homeless people living at the mill site. You know anything about that?
I don't know about any homeless people living in the mill site. So we help homeless people, yes, but I do not ask unless they share where they're staying.
Now, again,
Yeah.
our question is mainly to address another problem so we can try to find some solutions for the community. No, it's not accusing, but trying to help.
And I think I can comment on that. Lee Miller, I'm the police chief. So as far as homeless on the mill site itself, I mean, right now I would say there's not anybody possibly living on the mill site. In the summertime, we deal with that. Throughout the summer, we had one person that we continued to deal with. We actually got he actually bought us. He was on probation and he was living in different spots in the mill site. We would remove him and he was finally arrested. And he's actually serving quite a lengthy sentence now, but no, there's not. I don't know where there's 20 people on the mill site for homelessness.
We hear rumors, we have to
Right.
ask questions.
Yeah,
certainly. Yes.
I love the fact that you've got the numbers for Knobstock County as a whole. I know it's very difficult to do. Do we have any kind of guess, any kind of indication, are our rates in this area, in your service area, higher, lower, average for Knobstock County for
Addiction and deaths and all that kind of.
So data wise, the state does it by county. So, I mean, our numbers of participation are there, and that tells you that there's a couple hundred people dealing with substance use issues, alcoholism that need help, as well as family members. Because if one person has a substance use issue, that also probably brings in children, aunts, uncles, cousins, and then it branches out. It's hard to find one person who's not dealing with this.
And on top of that, or as far as like being able to the OD map, we have a system it's actually a countrywide system. We've been using it for several years. When I came here, I started using it here for Lincoln. But what we see is when we go to an OD, we would put that in the system. We have systems that we have circumstances in our incidents where now, since I started in January, we would document if we dealt with somebody that was homeless, or if we dealt with somebody that was an overdose. We document that. I think we see less ODs from the police department stand side. I believe that's from the better distribution of Narcan. So it used to be Narcan wasn't something that was easily accessible to everybody. And I think now it's more easily accessible and people are able to get it. So we get less calls.
Yes.
Love the presentation. Thank you for what you're doing. My only question, are you looking for something from the town of Lincoln? Or is this more of a,
I was asked to present.
okay,
No, the whole point invited was to inform us of what
I heard what you
the invisible part of the town. So,
One of the things that's impressed me when I've been over there is the number of services you've got to keep kids from ever getting into drugs. Really very impressed with what you do.
Mr. Chairman, I know last week we alone had 2 ODs. And
I know a couple years ago, we agreed to open up Public Works building when it's 10 degrees or lower for a warming center. That isn't right. I mean, you can die at 48 degrees with hypothermia. You know, so do you think it's a need for the town to have a warming center?
Yeah.
And have it manned or ladied or whatever, you know?
Save life when I can, but save life. Our road isn't always the first to plow, and that is not a dig, like it is a dirt road. I do not think it should be the first to plow. So I can't always open Save a Life as a warming center. So the need is there, and we're pretty out of the way. It's way easier to get to anywhere in the middle of town than it would be to walk up to Save Life and then walk up that hill and then hopefully get there before you get too cold.
I've been wondering if maybe we could do something, but we have to make sure that one of us are there, because we have a lot of value.
There's another building that we talked about, the potential recreation center. That could be a potential warm-up center, I think is large enough and has the infrastructure to receive people. You know, we were talking about possible investment to make that a better place. And I know we're off subject, but there's money to do that. But I think that potentially could be a warm-up center.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
would just like to add this, we did, in fact, have the Public Works as a warming center, as Council Hannigan stated. But we had 0 people come to. We kept it up for 2 days. And we had a lot of donations of food, Forest Pump donated. A couple of other places donated, but we had 0 people.
I'm a big supporter of nonprofits. I would like to see a nonprofit. I understand your location isn't maybe the most ideal, but I think before we think about spending town monies, not to be a Scrooge, but you know, Howland, I'm very impressed with what's been going on down there with that nonprofit. So keep up the good work. And churches.
How serious a drug problem do we have here in town?
You know, I think, in my opinion, I think every community has issues with drugs. It's just how we can combat it, right? So it's hard to do some of what we do with the minimum staffing that we have. I can tell you, since I've been here, we've had meetings with the Maine Drug Enforcement. So Maine Drug Enforcement is a collaborative group throughout the whole state, made up of different officers from different communities, and also with the DEA. So I mean, we've had places in town that we know about. We've had places where we put up what we call poll cameras to try to gather information. But it's trying to gather enough probable cause to be able to go in and actually write a search warrant and search that person's house. So that takes time. You know, my philosophy on this is if I can get 51%, which is what I need for probable cause, then I'm going to go in and do that and get that search warrant. Because where Maine Drug's trying to get these big cases, I'm just trying to get the drug dealer out of Lincoln. I don't care. I mean, honestly, I don't care if you go to Howland. I don't care. My job right now is to deal with Lincoln, right? So that's always been my philosophy. It'll continue to be just getting the time to be able to do that and to work those cases. Just with the staff.
The other item. We know there are people who need food. Assuming that we could find a way to capture the good food that comes out of the fast food restaurants. Do you have any idea of how that could be distributed before we take on that issue?
My only advice would be it has to be somewhere central and local for people to get to. Well, I would love to say, bring it to Save a Life, we'll hand it out. Transportation is a huge barrier, so it has to be somewhere where people can get to.
No, I understand because,
Yeah.
you know, there's food going in the trash every day. We've had a couple of events where there was more food prepared than people came, and it goes in the trash. And that's really, regardless of religion, it's a sin to waste food when we know people are going hungry. So my point is, if we can find a way to find the people who need and be able to get it to them, I think that we will do a great service to the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Arkan.
Yeah, the cupboard.
So can I comment on that?
Yes.
So actually Kate was riding with Officer Milner and I didn't even know Kate was here, but Kate's, she works for Community Health and Counseling. And she rides with us and provides mental health support. And she's also really working with people that are having food insecurity problems. Last week we met with the food cupboard, and we're going to have it. The police department will have the ability to have boxes of food that if we have a situation where we see somebody that needs food, we can just give them that box. And it's some dry goods. It also include a Hannaford gift card that they provide to us. We're also work with Hannaford on some of that stuff too. So there's means to be able to help with those situations. And that's just one of them, is just having that ability for us to, because some people don't be able to go to the food cupboard or aren't aware of that. So if we run into somebody that is in need, we can give them a box right then and there.
See, and if we can find a distribution, the other night we were at Dunkin' Donuts after the parade, which was beautiful, by the way. And we asked, because they were putting trays and trays of all the donuts they had not sold. And Sheldon asked the gentleman, what are you going to do? They did something interesting. They don't put it in the dumpster, they put it on top of the dumpster. For people who could know that can go and fish. Another idea would be in the fast food restaurants, since they cannot give it away, we could buy their leftovers for $5 so they can legally sell it. As long as we have something we can do with it, otherwise, it's no point. Yes, sir.
I think we're kind of almost inventing a problem that we may not have. There's a lot of businesses in town that have been collecting money, food since early November, prior to November. I don't think we really have an issue all that much, and I'm glad to hear that that's going on at the police station. But I think it's.
I'm glad you feel you're an optimist.
I do.
I'm concerned about waste also.
Can I just say one more thing about Save a Life is, I'm recently was put on the board. I think we have a few more people that we need on the board. I think we're looking for some strong people that have some certain characteristics to put on the board so that we can help them as a nonprofit raise money through grants. That's really, really important. They do a good job, but we've been struggling to get to get funding. So,
okay. Oh, well, I'm glad we don't have people hungry that need food at night. So anyway, thank you, Ashley. I think it's important that you bring up to us whatever the council can do, even if it's just providing leadership or visibility. And then we'll ask the chief a couple more questions.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Ash.
Thank you, Ash. Thanks.
You already began to address, but I think we would like to know just a general picture of to what degree we have a drug problem in town. I had a lady call me some time ago. There is a lab near my house and the police won't come and do anything about it. The state police don't do anything about it. I have no way of verifying that, but again, we need to at least bring it to the surface and see what's true, what isn't. Obviously, there's movement. I find it very interesting that the ATMs are in Chinese. Why do we need ATMs in Chinese?
I guess I don't know how to answer that. I can talk about drug problems.
And as a society, we always have a problem of demand, and somebody's going to supply.
So I can tell you this, if we get a complaint, we're gonna investigate it. And sometimes we can do things with complaints, sometimes we can't do things with complaints. We can't just go to somebody's house and barge in or do anything. We have to follow certain laws. We have to follow the system, and we have to have probable cause. So yes, if somebody calls a complaint in, then we can investigate it. And the marijuana laws have changed, so we have to look at that and how we handle that. But anytime that we get a complaint, we deal with it. If a complaint comes to Main Drug, they forward it to us. They will work together with us if there's a situation that it needs to work together. So any complaint that we get, we investigate. Now, whether or not the outcome happens that the person wants, sometimes doesn't happen, unfortunately.
So to what degree do we have a problem with that?
I mean, I think if we had more resources, we could do more. I think there's places that are drug houses, they take time to investigate, right? You have to establish a pattern. You have to establish there's actually something going on there. Just cars coming and going, that's great, but you got to have time to be able to investigate that. Whether that being with the pole camera or, being able to write plates down, but all of this takes time, effort, to be able to do. So, I think that's probably every community's issue as far as being able to spend time and resources on that type of investigation.
Yeah, because there was a news item that state police captured enough drugs in Bristol County to kill the whole state of Maine. So, the dealers are there.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
Right.
And I think that until we can stop our people from consuming, we're gonna have a problem. We'll try to do so. When you said you need more resources, we would like to know in what form. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, can we move to agenda 13? Because we still got quite a few stuff to cover.
Okay. So, thank you for your testimony, and everybody's in agreement. We can move to item 13.
So
the police station remediation update and next steps.
So I'll give you a quick update, right? Here we go. So air quality so we had our own company come in and do the air quality and some of the samples. The air quality passed, other than the utility room, which we really don't use a whole lot. There's some trace issues there. The problem is the whole testing didn't pass because the landlord didn't allow him to test properly. Basically, everything got buttoned up before he could test the final time. So like he can't test some of the issues because there's sheetrock over the top of it. So I think there's still going to be some issues, especially on the one side of the building where water can go down in. We'll see how that goes and addresses. I think long term still is looking and creating and finding some place that we can actually have. I know that town manager and I have talked about that. And I think that's something we're tackling kind of together over the next, I think we need some time to be able to establish and give you guys some information on what we should do and where we should go. My goal with being able was to get out of that trailer that we were in and get back in the building for the time being, right? And so that's where we are right now. We're able to go back in the building for the time being.
Been talking to quite a few people, but in your mindset, how many square feet would you need to be comfortable?
That's a good question. That's something I'd have to research and look at and get back to you. I think where we're at right now, there's not enough space. I think the one thing that I will say that I think we do need is we need a sally port, not to even wash cars, but just for a place that's safely, that if I arrest somebody, I can drive into, shut the door, and then bring them into what we call would be our, not even a holding area, but just an area where we can process the person. Because a lot of times we don't take people all the way to Bangor because it takes time. And if we can bail somebody from here, we do that. But, I think that's one thing but I can look at kind of what we have for square footage and what we need. And I can talk to a couple other places that are similar size to us that are either one's getting a police department, one tried to get a police department, and kind of get what their square footage is.
Do you know when the next mold test, has that been scheduled or?
No, so this one kind of, I think they're expensive, right? So, and I know the landlord had his own mold person, and so he did his testing. I think he has to test again because he had an issue. But I mean, there's still places in that building where there's actual, our tester actually saw mold. So, I mean, he didn't get all the mold. But I think what we do is it passed right now. I mean, it is better. I mean, I could say that like my office is better. But I think we need to wait, kind of, our lease runs out in June or July. So I think we need a place to stay. So that's what, and then I think we need to look and see what the building's doing, if there's water still coming in.
When you say we need a place to stay, from like now until June? Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was my next question is, you know, are you fine until the next town council meeting?
Yeah. No, I was really concerned about living in trailers. I didn't think that was going to be a safe option for us.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
Okay, item 14. Appoint members, RSU 67 Board of Directors. And we have 3 candidates.
I have to recuse myself because my wife is one of the 5 who were considered, so.
Okay.
I'll step out.
So. Glenn McClellan. I can't write my own handwriting. The Severance and Heather Severance and Tim Wright. And we are to appoint 2 vacancies, right? Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I was under the impression that Bill Davis put his application.
You did?
He did.
So the appointments committee met.
Okay.
Board
And
that.
got it down to these 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Board was tired of it, so we agreed on one, we agreed on the other.
Okay.
And Counselor Clay wanted to do a wrestling match to settle it. I said, no, we'd do rock, paper, scissors, and we couldn't come to an
So we have
agreement.
3 candidates. Yeah, okay.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Tim Wright and Heather Severance.
Okay,
Second.
same candidate. Dave,
Glenn McCollum and Heather Severance.
Glenn McClellan and Heather Severance. Okay, we need Kathy Gott. No, I guess we need her input. If you want to give it.
She appears to be frozen and she's been dropping on and off, so.
Yeah, notice she was missing a while ago.
Yeah.
See if she's on, so we can get her. My vote would be for Heather Severance and Tim Wright. So I think we have right now 4 for each one for Glenn.
No, there's 2 for Glenn.
I'm sorry?
There's 2 for Glenn.
Lee,
2 votes.
Lee was Glenn.
Okay,
So Heather's a given, right?
I think so, yeah.
Then we just gotta decide on the second.
Are we able to get Kathy in?
Well, if she, Kathy, can you hear us so you can give your vote?
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, that was for whom?
I think Sean's gonna.
Here. Wow.
Can you read that? It says Heather Severance and Tim Wright. Okay.
Okay. And I think if I read this correctly, Heather Severance and Tim Wright have the votes. Next item.
There needs to be a motion, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
So move. the Tim Wright,
Second.
Heather Severance.
Second.
Those for Heather Severance. And I guess you need to poll us again.
This is for both.
For both of them.
For both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, so this is for Kim Wright and Heather Severn. Counselor Clay? Counselor Hannington?
Yes.
Counselor Ireland?
Yes.
Counselor Rand?
Yes.
Counselor Street?
He's abstaining.
Oh, yep, sorry. Counselor Rojo?
Yes.
Counselor Moise?
Yes.
Yes.
5-1.
Okay. So item 15. Appoint member of the advisory board committee. And suggest to appoint Stephen Livy to the advisory, airport advisory committee to May 31st to 28th to fill a vacancy as recommended by the appointments committee. A motion? Second,
Second.
discussion? Vote?
Counselor Clay?
Yes.
Counselor Hannington?
Yes.
Counselor Ireland?
Yeah.
Counselor Rand?
Yes.
Counselor Street?
Yes.
Counselor Rojo?
Yes.
Counselor Moise?
Yes.
That's better. Big screen. Item 16. Approve renewal of state liquor license application, the Forester Pub. Says this business has been in operation for more than 5 years in good standing and does not need a public hearing. Suggested motion. Move to approve the renewal of the state liquor license application submitted for the Forest Pub. Second, discussion? I see none. We'll take a vote. And please.
Counselor Clay?
Yes.
Counselor Hannington?
Yes.
Counselor Ireland?
Yeah.
Counselor Rand?
Yes.
Counselor Street?
Yes.
Counselor Rojo?
Yes.
Counselor Moise?
Yes.
Item 17, discussion, veteran markers at cemeteries. Go ahead. Just restate your name and your
My name's
position.
Brendan Crocker. I'm the Cemetery Parks and Recreation Director. This was put on here by a member of the council, so I'm here to answer any questions or give any information that is needed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I know we've gone around and around now in the past. But state statute says that we need to maintain our veterans markers according to statute.
I agree with you.
What I'd like to have a plan, I don't want to get in the weeds, but I'd like to be able to sit down with you and work up a plan. And I'm not gonna give you the 14-day notice like state statute says. Because I think we've learned from the past, but we do have a problem. I've got over 70 pictures taken. Why they need repaired. And I think with the budget that we have, we should be able to do, and maybe even use some of the fraternities out there to help you do that. So I'm willing to, work with you and see if we can get this problem remedied without any bad PR or whatnot. So
No, I'm in full agreement with you. So just a little background. I've been on the job for 7 months, sometime next week. Or actually later this week, I should say. So this was actually brought to my attention by, I believe his name is Scott McNish. During the placing of the flags back in May. So kind of over the summer, part of my whole thing is to get a baseline of kind of where we are so that I can kind of go from there. Things need to be changed. If they need to, kind of stay the same, where my focus needs to be. Cemeteries is one of them. I've been working on right now it's rough because I really haven't had a chance to develop timeframes, look into costs of most things at the moment. But the first step of my plan is to go into the cemeteries, starting with West Broadway Park Street, and color code all the stones entirely that need to be either fixed, leveled. So ones that need to be leveled would be one color code. Ones that we can fix, me and my new cemetery supervisor, Cody Norris, we've discussed this. He wants to take an active role. We think that we can fix some of the stones ourselves without having to bring in a new company. A new company would probably be about $450 per stone. We can do that for less. Melissa has found stuff online through Atlas Preservation that comes in kits, varies in size. I believe I put in my monthly report anywhere between, I think, $40 and $70, but that's based on the kit and the size of the kit. And once you get the tools, you don't need to buy those again unless they break. So then you're just buying the cement. So we think we can fix some of these ones that are not completely sheared off, broken. And then the ones that are in like desperate, need of repair is to have a separate company come in, fix those so we can really lessen that cost. The leveling one is the easiest one. We set ourselves a lot of the foot markers. Cody and Teddy actually set the veterans marker for my grandfather this past summer. So we set a lot of those so we can probably fix a lot of those that are just because they're in the ground. There's no footer, no nothing that needs to go with those. So that process can start, this summer. So I can start that. And my goal is to kind of see, and we'll start with veterans ones, see what that looks like because I do have a limited crew. That their main focus is on the mowing, keeping things, nice and neat around town in the cemeteries. My hope is that I can have one or two of the ones that have been there the longest go with Cody and start fixing those, kind of have like a separate crew for that. But we'll see kind of what the crew looks like come hiring time, sometime at the beginning of next year. Like I said, that's my rough first step of the plan. And like I said, I'm willing to talk with anyone that wants to. If you want, you can send me those pictures. I do have a list on my phone started of people that have come in and mentioned stones to me. So I do have that running list started already. And I'll be working hopefully to get a company in to fix some of the ones that are in desperate repair next year. Cause I do have a good cemetery budget, cemetery maintenance budget that I'm hopeful that I can go towards updating those stones, fixing them. So then we can, get caught up because we are behind on that. That is full agreement from me on that. And it is one thing that I definitely want to do because I think our cemeteries, especially those two right in town, are very, very important to the town. And I think could be very good symbols for the town too. So, but yes. Thank you.
Council Hennig, can you copy me in on those pictures, please?
Yep. I can do that.
There's a local business that does specialize in restoring
Okay.
stones.
All right. Yeah, that
Sitting
wasn't
right behind you.
Oh, yes.
Emails for
Yes.
prepare a couple stuff that I-
Okay, cool. Yes. All right, cool.
Learn a lot.
All right, cool. Yeah, you can come in and chat. We'll chat in person.
Here is, this brochure. I'm not sure if it's a business or a nonprofit. Because I happen to live across from the cemetery in South Lincoln. I would say all cemeteries in Lincoln are important. Those are all hollow ground. But my point is, I don't think, and they've been over there. That's actually how I met them. They actually live in Enfield, West Enfield. And I think they fixed some of the damaged stones and replaced them too. So I would encourage the town. I'll find our brochure and
Okay.
send the information to you, but they go all over the state of Maine too.
Okay, cool.
Yes,
I love the fact that Sheldon and you you're gonna work together on this, but I did realize that, David, you pointed out that we've got to be careful about how we interact with staff. How are we gonna make sure that it doesn't do what you were saying that we need to be careful about?
well, there is a town manager. The whole point is, he's a point of contact. Talk to the town manager can set up a meeting, so either he can convey the thing, or all the interested parties can talk together. As long as we don't bypass the town manager, and the statute says we can talk to staff, we cannot give direction.
That's right.
So talking is okay as long as we don't say you must do.
Okay, that's not statute, that's the town law.
And
You know what I mean?
Well, we gotta be specific.
Yes, sir. Good point. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I've got to be.
Sorry about that.
But can I do a future agenda item before I go?
I'm sorry?
Can I report future agenda item before I go?
Yes.
I want more clarification on what the gentleman talking about the full council meeting in down the hall. I'd like that investigated.
when was that?
He didn't say 4, he said 3. I mean, he said 3 or more. Yeah. Well, I'd like to get more info. I mean, they were standing here and Lee came over and we were just talking.
And I talked to Lee, I talked to Lee by
That's fine,
myself.
but I just want more info. Okay. It was brought up. We asked questions, right?
Yeah,
You
that's
were saying
fine.
that all now.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm saying, but we went to the room, it just was Lee and I.
All right. Well, that's the next one.
Yep. Okay, the next one. Suggested motion, move to approve accepting the bid from Doors Equipment in the amount of $23,624, including a $2,500 trade-in allowance for a 2025 Kubota RTVX 1130WL-H utility vehicle UTV with funding coming from capital unreserved funds. Motion?
Motion for discussion.
Second. Discussion?
I'm,
Well, I'm saying, go ahead.
okay. This utility vehicle, last meeting, we voted down, I believe, to get a utility vehicle for the fire department. Would this utility vehicle be capable of doing what the fire department wanted? Could it be shared between the fire department and you?
No, we approved the fire department. Side by side.
Is that the one with the ATV with the, for carrying people in the back?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay,
Bought that by selling it. $550.
got it. Okay, all right, my mistake.
So,
I'm all for saving money and using what we got. Friend of mine and I went over to Dry Doors today and looked at such vehicle. So we researched a brand new reman from Bobcat. $2,300 to $2,900, brand new one, $4,700. And we would donate our services to put that engine in that UTV. And all in, it would be just whatever the prices of the price of the engine. I mean, that'd be a lot cheaper than, I mean, the machine is in real good shape, other than the engine. And, you know, I'm not for spending another $23,000 and having maybe faulty antifreeze when the vehicle wasn't winterized. I don't know how the engine cracked. I'm just assuming. We never had one prior to having this one, and we got fined. We got by fine digging graves for 100 years now or better. So I would be for volunteering my time and getting an engine and a new engine, and even the reman engine from Bobcat has a warranty. So I would donate my time, us the gentleman, and we would get that going for probably $5,500 on it.
so if I understand correct procedures, you're modifying the motion. Or making a new motion.
Well,
I mean, we'd have to deal with both.
Hold on, who made the original motion?
I'm sorry?
The original motion was from Sheldon.
Yeah.
All right.
so we have to shoot this one down and have another motion.
I think that would be the correct process. So.
I mean,
Ready to
who-
vote on this motion?
Question?
Go ahead.
Who would do the work to do that?
My friend and I, we take it to his. That's a little hassle there. And we do that. For the town.
My concern is that something that town is allowed to do.
My concern would be to find other problems with it, that this ends up being a moot point to begin with.
Now, that's a good point. I I mean, we just bought a side by side and ran it, serviced it. And hooked it up for a lady who's happy. So
I'm not questioning your ability. I'm just questioning the fact that maybe you find other existing problems. What caused that engine to fail was overheat. It didn't freeze, it was overheat.
Well, I think that one option could be to postpone this vote to a thorough inspection of the vehicle and ascertain from those offerings that they can in fact get it running in acceptable condition.
Part of my packet was a thorough inspection of the vehicle from Jordan Equipment, who specializes in Bobcats.
Did they find anything else other than the engine?
So it was the engine. And then, so the water pump, coolant tank, there's a rear end leak of some kind. Parking brake has an issue as well. And then they also would be, they're like, that doesn't pertain to anything that they find once they dig into the vehicle.
Those seem to be standard maintenance. Then you're making the offer.
I mean, I would like to think that vehicle with 900 and something miles on it, hours, in good enough shape to put in the motor and get it going. And even if, I said, speaking, if you have $75,000, $8,000, if you just material, the labor's free. And I'm capable to think that we could get it going.
How long do you think it would take you?
You know, you can have the engine out, wait for a new motor, and you can have it going by mid-February. You know,
Is that acceptable? I mean, is it a winter vehicle or summer vehicle?
It's a spring, summer, and fall vehicle, and we don't just use it for graves. It's used during Loonfest. It can be used during any town event, because it is registered on the roads. Our plan is to use it to keep the maintenance of the walking trails, which I've heard from numerous townspeople are not up to their standards. Graves as well. My cemetery project, it'll be used steadily in that. We could use it for Wreaths Across America, the flag thing in the spring. And that's just kind of off the top of my head.
Within the time frame, the time could be acceptable for them to prove whether they can or cannot do it. Yes, sir.
You have on here, this machine better fits our needs. What do you mean?
That's in comparison to the other bids that I received.
Not compared to the bigger.
Yeah, in a way it would too. It's a bigger body. It's a spray and bed liner. It has a bigger wheelbase. The front garden bumper, it comes with a winch system, which we would use in the walking trails on big trees. I walked that last summer. A lot of times trees that have come down on the walking trails, instead of getting rid of them, they've just pushed them off to the side and they're starting to just grow up and over the trails. So it'd be used for that. It's got more bed capacity, comes with a warranty. It's the best warranty out of all the bids I got too, as well. So,
which is,
let's see here, 24 months or 1,000 hours. And then it comes with an extended warranty, which is available for purchase as well, which an extra year for an extra 1,500 miles would be $850, but it does come with an extended warranty. So I did do that.
Sorry, then, if I could take on.
Yes.
Cody, cemetery supervisor. I dealt with Bobcat through and through. I've hauled most of the stuff through them 2 years. They do not cover for people that do the stuff, so. Their warranties are wiped out. The only time their warranty is valid is if they do the work. I have talked to Jordan Equipment about it, and that's how it is. So if Counselor Hannington would do the work, we would lose out on all warranty. So if something would happen and we're in the same boat, then we have all sorts of other issues. We're going to be back here for a third.
understood, but if you were talking about one new vehicle versus a used vehicle.
Mr. Chair, you've got 45 minutes when we're kicked out of this conference. We still have quite a bit of ground to cover. My recommendation is let's just vote up, straight up and down on the motion. That's the only thing that's done.
You always put it in budget, you still have time, budget passes. Buy one, but.
This one's already in the budget. This one's already in the budget. It's part of the capital fund and then reserve funds that have been pulled from previous budgets before for this exact need.
So I guess we have to call the question. And
Yeah, so we're voting on that. Counselor Hannington,
No.
Counselor Ireland,
No.
Counselor Rand,
no,
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
No.
Counselor Moise.
yes,
yes. Okay, item 19 is taken care of.
I make it. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was 18. And 19. Number 20, suggested motion. Move to change the name of the Loon Fest back to its original name, Homecoming.
Hello, my name is Sean.
We haven't voted yet.
Okay, I'm apologize.
Do we have a motion? To discuss?
So move.
Second?
Second for discussion.
I've already heard, people saying that maybe we want to discuss, to think about this a little bit longer. We're coming up on 10 o'clock. It seems to me this is an issue that maybe we should just table and move over to the next meeting.
I agree. So I guess we have to vote on tabling. And you want to take a roll?
Somebody needs to make a motion to table though.
Motion to table.
Suspend- you have to suspend the rules.
Just suspend the rules? Oh, okay.
I think so.
Yeah. Well, can't he just withdraw the motion?
Or withdraw your motion? Sure.
Okay,
Now you gotta make a
so now
motion.
we have a new motion.
No, then it fails for lack of a.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's it.
See you next week.
Okay.
Thank you, Sean.
Actually, could we do this tonight? Only because I need to start planning and I need to start planning yesterday. And at pardon me, and at the last council meeting, I was told that we were going to be discussing fireworks and a parade for 4th of July instead of Loon Fest. And tonight, we're discussing Loon Fest versus Homecoming. And if you guys want to have a celebration in the summer, I need to start planning that now. So.
Under any name,
What's that?
under any name.
Yeah, under any name.
Recommendation.
But I need to start going to bid, need to start, the process needs to start now, even no matter what the name is.
Okay, point of order. We don't have a motion on the floor, but a suggestion. We could add this to what we're doing on Wednesday.
Wednesday, we could.
I would be okay with that,
Okay.
just because I need to get this ball rolling and so.
Okay, so we're unanimous to defer to Wednesday.
So moved.
So
Second. I don't think we have-
They're gonna do it.
Add that to Wednesday, we have to create an addendum, to make that legal to add that. As an item for them.
Or can we just suspend the rules and add it?
Or you could do that, yeah.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules.
No, I mean on Wednesdays.
On Wednesday you can, but,
All right, we can do that.
but then if people want to come and speak, then they won't, it won't be public knowledge unless we do an addendum. So. I'm just thinking out loud here, because in my opinion, this is something that has gone, since day one, I started with this job, I've heard this. And I've heard it from all different sides and people have been telling me that they wanted to listen to this tonight. So I would just say, if we are going to do that, let's put an addendum out there so that way we can let the public know that
it wasn't voted on tonight, and it'll be voted on Wednesday. If that makes sense to you.
But I'm not sure if an addendum's really gonna achieve that. I think you would put it out on Lincoln's website. Is probably gonna get a lot more.
But how can I put out there that you're gonna suspend the rules?
Right. If need be, we call for a special session, if that's. It's
I mean, we can suspend, no, I mean, you guys can suspend the rules. I'm not saying that you guys can't do that at all. What I'm saying is that if you guys are planning on doing that, my ask would be from the council is that you broadcast that. So that way me as the communications director, it doesn't fall back on me that, you know, it was trying to be split in or, you know, wasn't publicly advertised or anything like that. That's where I'm looking at this from, is because it is such a big deal to this community that the community should be aware of when this decision is going to be made.
Mr. Chair, can we kind of do just a quick poll of how many people are here to address this motion?
I mean, I have the theme and everything like that. I mean, it would just be, you know, when I reach out to like headliners and stuff, when I describe the event, you know, they like to know what it is, because they like to start promoting it as soon as contracts are signed. So
What would it entail for us to do an addendum to the meeting? Do we just make a motion now to do that?
No, but I think the direction of the manager of the council here, right there. In endemic meeting, but what the thing that they're trying to say is just that this is such a heated topic that there wouldn't be any public notice, because you're talking a day after tomorrow, so it wouldn't even go out till tomorrow. So there's just lack of notice for any.
So I don't think anything's gonna be accomplished by doing an addendum, except for making more work.
and like I said, if you guys want to suspend the rules, my ask would just be that, you know, you guys broadcast it, that it wasn't done today and that it will be done on Wednesday. I can't do that on your behalf. So you see what I mean?
Fine. Taking a vote tonight. What do you say, Councilor Brand?
Well. During the campaign, without any prodding from me, I had an awful lot of people tell me, by the way, can you do something about that stupid loon festival?
Mhm.
I started hearing more and more and more as I campaigned, so I talked to a few hundred people here in town. And I didn't get one person that was in favor of the loon festival.
So are we going to have this conversation tonight? Or are we going to have this conversation Wednesday? Or are we going to have this conversation next month?
The way that it's being portrayed is that it's a dividing issue and it's a close call and all that bullcrap. I didn't hear any of that when I was running for office, and I talked to an awful lot of people. They do not like the Loon Festival, period.
Are we going to talk about this tonight? Are we going to talk about this Wednesday? Or are we going to talk about this next month?
We do not have a motion on the floor that we're discussing. I think that if we need to, I will make a motion that we move this to Wednesday and that each of us put it out on our own various websites and try to get it so that we actually start the process tonight of letting people know that it's going to be moved to Wednesday.
Well,
Do we do this with every issue that comes up before the council?
well, this is Councilor Rand's baby. I want to know,
Well-
do you want to hold a vote tonight?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, the people spoke to me and I won the election, so. You know, and you ran for office too, and what was what did you hear about the Loon Festival?
Same thing.
All right, we still don't have a motion on the floor.
Well, we got a motion right here.
No, it's both, right now you're working with no motion.
I went
Okay,
through.
so I have
So-
to say. Suggested motion, move to approve. The change of the Loon Fest back to original homecoming. Do I have? a motion? I second.
Oh, you say so moved.
So moved. Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, I think we just, yes, sir.
Can we take into consideration the amount of money that gets spent in marketing for the Loon Fest? We have carnival, we have stationery, things of that nature. We have spent a lot of money on marketing this festival as Loon Fest.
Can I, if I may, Mr. Manager,
Point of order. You haven't actually asked us for discussion.
No,
No.
discussion has been going. So, before we go into the discussion, can we give Sean the opportunity to make his presentation?
okay,
That's it.
so Loon Fest Homecoming or Lincoln Days, whatever we call it, is something that I am in charge of planning for the town. Since day one, I have heard if I wanted to make a lot of people in town that are from Lincoln happy, change it back to Loon Fest. You may be asking me, why haven't I done that if I'm gonna make
Homecoming.
a homecoming? You may be asking me, why haven't I done that if so many people have said that? So I looked into the history of Loon Fest Homecoming, or at its core, Lincoln Days, Lincoln Dollar Days. At its very beginning, it was called Lincoln Days, and this is from 1961. It was started out as a way to boost Lincoln's economy. And then in 1979, so 18 years later, it was already took on its identity as Lincoln Days. And it took on, and so then it transformed to Homecoming. The Chamber of Commerce, this is an article from Lincoln News in 1982 that says that the Lincoln Chamber of Commerce is now planning it. So the Chamber of Commerce planned it with the Alumni Association. The reason why the date was chosen for the third weekend in July was to do with River Driver Supper. The River Driver Supper was already an established event. In 1996, the Alumni Association asked the town to take it over. That's when we got involved as the town of Lincoln. And this is from the Miss Crosby said this in 2010 that there was 75 plus volunteers. So now today, Loon Fest, the name changed in 2017. Why did the name change? To make it more inclusive. Research showed, and research from marketing firms as well as people that are not from Lincoln have said that Lincoln Homecoming sounds exclusive just for people who are from Lincoln. So attendance numbers have gone up since then. Last year, estimates are around 20,000 people. The other thing to consider is the Alumni Association has officially disbanded. There's no longer a homecoming dinner. There is still the River Driver Supper, but there is not a homecoming dinner. I also do this with less than 15 volunteers. So last year, so let's talk about the funding. Where does the funding from the Loon Fest happen? It comes from the TIF. If you haven't been educated about the TIF, please do. So this shows you over the last couple years, and I came involved in 2024. That budget was already set for me for $39,000. I said I wanted to make this bigger and better. So I set a budget at $48,000. $48,000 wasn't enough for me, so I went out into the community and I started a sponsorship program for Loon Fest. This was the first year that I did this. Last year, what I did was I came up with 4 different tiers from $250 to $5,000, and I just sent out over 100 letters, just snail mail to the community to do a baseline project. This is a baseline study. This is when you have no variables. So all I did was sent out a letter because I wanted to see what I could do with just that. I raised $18,000. We went back one. I raised $18,500, a record-breaking number that anybody has ever raised in the town of Lincoln for any festival, Homecoming, Lincoln Days, or Loon Fest. I spent a total, a record number of $58,000 on Loon Fest, but offset by sponsorships, so I only spent $34,500. That goes back to 2021 numbers. So I got it back to 2021 by doing this sponsorship program. And this is why I need to have this knocked down tonight, is because I didn't start this early enough last year, and I need to do this. Now, here's the sad news. I've already had one business that told me that if I changed it to Homecoming, they would not sponsor it. If you look at my core businesses up here, they're not your mom and pop places. These are businesses in town, a lot of corporations, Machias, Fidium, Wendy's, Versant Power, that are giving the Loon Fest money because of its name and what it is designed to do at this time. And that is to bring people to Lincoln who are not from Lincoln. So what do? So future plans.
is to continue the sponsorship program. I want to create a Loonfest 501c3 to get more donations, so therefore they're tax deductible. I want to get more community involvement. Last year, the Mananoka did a Loonfest Invitational. The Little League is catching on to Loonfest. I want to turn this from a 4-day event to an entire week. I want to make it 100% sufficient, so that way it doesn't come from the TIF budget. It's 100%. Millinocket does this with the Trails End Festival. They have their own board of directors. They have a 501c3. They get it 100% sponsorships, and maybe the town gives 5,000 compared to 35,000. But if I'm going to continue to do this, it needs to stay Loonfest because of what Loonfest is designed to do, and that is to bring people that are not from Lincoln to Lincoln. So, what I am proposing is to keep weekend the way that it is. It's a great weekend that stimulates the local economy. Businesses thrive. I walked into the tap house and I was told, this is your fault. And I said, what? And they said, we're never this busy on a Wednesday night. You did this, Sean. Loonfest did this. Loonfest is already a well-established event with its own identity. It transformed from homecoming to Loonfest. I can't go backwards, but what I can do is give you guys a true homecoming. A true homecoming would be in the fall with MA. We can do it with football games. I can still get food trucks. I can still get music. I can still do fireworks. I can throw you guys a homecoming if you want a true homecoming. So what I am saying, what I'm asking council to do is let's keep Loonfest. Let's change Septemberfest, my fall event, into homecoming. Let's get with the high school. Let's coordinate it with them. And let's do it that way so that we can have both events. Thoughts, questions, comments, concerns?
Why don't you spend a couple hours in front of Martin's and ask the people of Lincoln what they think?
Because I have.
And
So I will back Sean up on this. Number one, I'm not originally from Lincoln. I've been here probably now more than the time I was born and brought up in Hampton. When I came here, it was homecoming. My husband was from here. He graduated from here. All his friends were here. I never felt that homecoming was something that I could go to. Those events were not for me. Because it was a town. I have had people come into the town office, so from a town point of view, people find the Loon Festival more welcoming because it's not now homecoming. They don't feel like, oh, there's an event for me. They always say homecoming. It just has that ring that it's something specific to just townspeople. Ever since it's been Loon Fest, we have had more people from out of town coming into the town office, getting flyers that we have printed up, and they want to participate.
I do agree that we should keep it for Loon Fest because I think it does bring more economic development and money into the town. My opinion.
yes, sir.
I like the idea of, I think I understand, people want to have homecoming back. But it seems to me that this is a way of protecting our economic, our businesses that rely on tourism, particularly this particular thing. And if we do this and say, okay, let's have a homecoming, but have it at a different time, then we end up addressing both issues. I also think that this is not something that we should decide tonight, because I think it's we need a little time to think about it. I still think we should talk about it and think about it and then decide it on Wednesday. But if you all want to go ahead and move on it tonight, I understand that.
Sean, you do a great job. And I, as a passionate person, love your passion. So this isn't anything to attack that. And I understand this is financed through TIF, but in a roundabout way, it's still that TIF money could be used in other ways to bring the overall budget down.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still being paid in one form or another from the residents of Lincoln.
Well,
I can tell, hold on.
I do know. Talking with over 1,000 people, it's not, this isn't an issue that I lose any sleep over, nor do I find a majority of Lincoln residents that lose sleep over.
Well, I can tell you this, that I do.
But, and that's fine. That's your job. Like with Counselor Rand. And I think a lot of the difference in opinion will break down from people who are from here versus people from away. And that's a natural kind of a division. It almost sounds like, because I am prepared to vote tonight to change it back to Loon Fest.
Change it back to Loon Fest.
I mean, change it homecoming. It almost, you've made a really good point here. It almost sounds like Loon Fest should be taken back over by the chamber.
Ultimately, the idea is for Loon Fest to be self-sufficient. So what that means is that whether it be taken over by the chamber or it would have its own identity. And that's what Trails End Festival does in Millinocket. And that's one thing that they do really well there. And that's why it is that's why the town doesn't have to give them a lot of money, is because it is self-sufficient. And I'll admit, the sponsorship program I took from a lot of other towns that put on festivals, because I was told that it's my goal to make it self-sufficient financially. So
you did a great job.
And I don't know that if I'm going to get those numbers by renaming it to Homecoming, because I looked back today at the past history, and we might have gotten $5,000 from this one business or $100 from this one, but the most I saw was $6,000 to $7,000 that was raised. I never saw 18.5, and we renamed this summer celebration back to Homecoming. I don't know if that momentum will stay. I don't think it will. So I don't think that if you want this to remain a self-sufficient thing again, because Homecoming once was self-sufficient, and it was back when you had multiple volunteers, because it was back when the council would actually help put on Homecoming, and and it was back when that was like that. So now I don't know if I'm going to get that finances from it. And what I'm saying is that we can still have a Loon Fest and we can still have a Homecoming. I'm just saying, make the Homecoming for the town's year-round residents. Why should we invest all this money during the summertime when we're going? I mean, why should we have a Homecoming during the summertime when it's not going to be for the town, for the people who are from Lincoln are not going to benefit from it during the summertime, because we're going to get overwhelmed with tourists no matter what. So if you guys want to have a true Homecoming where people come from away and that move back and they come back here, let's do it when the summer folk are not here, and it's just the people who are here year round.
But the problem with that is, and I almost think we're probably talking closer than you may think. The problem with that is Homecoming, because I lived this. I was born in Lincoln. At age 5, we moved to Springfield, Mass, so my dad could go to school. We lived there for 10 years. But we always came back every summer for 4 or 5 weeks. And we were always home for Homecoming. Again, I just don't like the commercialization. And I prefer, as a native, I prefer the name to go back from Loon Fest to Homecoming. Now, if this would be the time, let's get Loon Fest out of the town of Lincoln as far as government. And
we're not there yet.
Let's hand it over to
we're not there yet at all.
If it generates that much economic activity, then the chamber should be the one that takes over.
But they don't have the funding for it, because I'm part of the chamber, and I can tell you that the chamber does not have the funding for it. So I'm working towards that goal. But if I'm and just by year 1, I raised $18,500. So if I that was just by passing out letters. I thought I was going to get 10,000. I got 18,500. So now I'm just setting the bar for me to go higher and higher and higher. But that's with the Loon Fest sponsorships that I have done.
And there's no, just to wrap this up, Mr. Chair,
Okay,
there's no reason why Loon Fest and Homecoming can happen at the same time.
well, that's what he just said.
How do I name it? I would have to name it Loon Fest
Okay,
Homecoming,
now
which
my
I thought about, but then that's too long and it doesn't have the same
My
ring.
turn.
So
I'm ready to vote.
I think your proposal, and this is what I've heard from some people. Tradition is important. And homecoming is important to most towns. Why can't we have both? Why do we have to force ourselves in changing the name of something that is bringing life and money to the town? And we can have a homecoming. One does not negate the other.
isn't that that's what I'm proposing?
That's what I hear you say.
Yeah.
And I like that, and I've heard that from several people. They're willing, because then we have two festivals.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I'm putting on the table here is that we don't rename Loon Fest to Homecoming. We keep Loon Fest the way that it is. And then in the fall, we have a homecoming event that is put on for the people who live here.
Okay, I think we're ready to take a vote. And
Counselor Hanington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
Yes.
Counselor Street,
No.
Counselor Rojo,
no,
Counselor Moisten,
No.
I think she said no. Kathy,
No.
put your hand up.
No, no, no.
I'll take that now. So it fails lack of a majority.
we're tied.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's Loon Fest.
Okay, so
He has
Yep.
a really good idea, starting a second festival. Loon Fest in the summertime brings a lot of tourism, a lot of money into our community. And if we start another festival, I think it's plus plus.
I agree, and that's why I changed my vote.
Now, we still do the harvest supper in the fall, right?
Any reason why?
The more activities we have, the better for
Yeah.
the town.
Well, I think
Sure,
Sean,
and
Yeah, but
We haven't done the harvest supper for the past 2 years. I last year converted it to September Fest because I didn't have the help to put it on.
Okay.
So I brought in food trucks, bands, essentially made it like a small Loon Fest, but in the fall.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
on to the next item, which is 21. Electric vehicle charging station resolve suggest motion, move to approve and sign a resolution to encourage Lincoln businesses to install electric vehicle charging stations. And there's an attachment. Whole point is, some people own electric vehicles, and whatever activities we do in the summer, we should be welcoming enough, but that should be part of the private sector activity, not the town.
Now, Mr. Chairman, do we still have the two charges?
So
out
moved.
back? Oh, I'm sorry.
A motion,
So moved.
second,
Second discussion. Mr. Chairman, do we still have the two chargers out back here that we had for the electric cars that we had?
Sure, we do.
Now, could we promote those?
I don't see any reason why we can't have those also, but they're not fast chargers.
Okay,
And what we need, if you really want to get to open this up for people who would come here for tourism, is fast charging, something that will charge their car in a half hour, 45 minutes. Those will take, what, 3 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours?
Promote this to private business and as
Yeah.
a money-making thing for them.
Right.
that's right.
Yeah.
They will,
not to be a cost to taxpayers.
not at all.
No, that's the whole point. But
the
that
only
we
one-
promote that is done. And one of the things we discuss is a place like Walmart would benefit from doing that because people go there and shop and stay.
Mr. Chair,
Anyway, are we ready for a vote?
yes, because we got 16 minutes.
Yeah, I know.
We Need to be out.
So,
We
okay,
can-
and take the poll, please.
make up.
Counselor Hanington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
Yes.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes,
Counselor Moisten.
yes. Item 22. Move to confirm the council chair's committee appointment as follows. So move. Finance Committee, Gordon Street, Sheldon Hannington, and Lee Rand. Broadway Committee, Stephen Clay, Eric Rojo,
and David Ireland. Do you have a motion? Second?
So move.
Vote?
Counselor Hannington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland.
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
Yeah.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes,
Counselor Moisten.
yes.
That's a thumb up.
Move to appoint Gordon Street, that's item 23, as council representative to the Lincoln Lakes Innovation Corporation. Motion?
So move.
Second?
Second.
Discussion?
I promise to learn the name of it.
Okay. Vote?
Counselor Hannington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
Yeah.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes.
Counselor Moisten.
Item 24. Suggested motion, move to advertise that volunteer forms are available in the town office and online for those wishing to join the ad hoc tax committee that will restart work in January, beginning with a public presentation from Senator Mike Tipping on January 15, 2026 at 6 p.m. on the legislative tax force on tax reform. So motion?
Second.
Vote? Is there any discussion? I don't think. Okay,
Counselor Hannington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
yeah,
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
yes,
Counselor Moisten.
That's a big thumbs up.
okay, last item. Town council work sessions. And this goes to involve, I wrote this, so this goes to involve the council more and have an opportunity to informally sit down here, discuss without somebody calling what I call the Nazi law. Oh, we're going to take you to jail because you're together. We can't help getting together. We're belonging to many things together. So but the whole idea is that starting in January 2026, the town council chamber be open on Wednesday. Kathy suggested Thursday. Day is not important. From 6 to 8 p.m. for the purpose of informally inviting Lincoln voters and taxpayers to chat with one or all seven. All seven of us don't have to be here as long as one is here and choose to participate and tell us their concerns, their suggestions.
So moved.
Second,
Second. All right.
discussion?
I would say that we need to have one adjustment to this. And that is that there needs to be written into this that there cannot be any suspension of the rules. Or else we will violate state law.
Again, and the word is informal.
That's
No
right.
decisions are made.
But
Yes,
that's,
I agree with you.
There's no, it's not a meeting.
Right. No, I mean,
It's not.
It's
It
an
it
open
has to
forum.
be, yeah, it has to be advertised,
yes,
but there is,
it has got to be clear. If we do not put in there that there can be no ability
That's
to
why they're calling-
vote.
that's why it's calling a work session.
Yeah,
So we're gonna have a work session, which means it's just for the public to come in. A workshop, you can't vote, but it's open to the public to come in, and if you allow them to participate, can participate. And then you have your special meeting where you are allowed to vote.
yeah, and this is just an open door policy for people to come in and talk to us.
Yep.
We take in, we make no decisions. If there's anything that we need to do, is been brought to a council.
It's basically just a way for the public to come in and talk to the council. But it has to be noticed, because if by any chance,
mhm.
3 or more of you are all here, that constitutes a meeting.
That's
But
the
there
whole- that's the
cannot
whole
be
point.
any,
We're here in our council chambers,
right.
we're informally meeting, and it's going to be, should be advertised in the newspaper and
Mr.
social
Yeah,
media.
Councilor Street concern, I think, is this, could you do a suspension of the rules and actually vote? And they can't.
Okay.
This
No,
is
we
what-
don't vote.
But it does not say in other words, the title of this is town council work sessions. It does not say in the motion, work sessions. We need to have that in the motion.
You want to, somebody would
Yeah.
have to amend it.
My original title was open forum, not work session.
Yeah, but work session is a legal term in this
Correct.
case.
No.
Okay, so I would say I'd like to move to amend the motion to say proposed starting January of 2026, the town council chamber be open on Wednesday or any day convenient, whatever, the week after a regular council meeting from 6 to 8 p.m. for the purpose of informally inviting Lincoln voters and taxpayers to chat in a work session with one or all of the 7 council members that they may choose to participate in a properly advertised public meeting. You add that phrase.
You want to amend it to that? Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was your emotions, that's fine.
I want to know what Dennis was gonna say. You just had your hand up.
We made that change from open forum to work sessions because we already had open forum in our agenda. as a standard.
Okay, that makes sense.
But again, the language has to be clear to make sure we don't disobey any of the absurd rules of the state. Ann and I went over this multiple times. We read it back and forth to each other to make sure that we were crossing all of our T's.
So are the two of you satisfied with the language on that?
Okay, ready to vote?
You need a second though.
Oh.
Or unless somebody seconds.
Yeah,
I didn't hear.
I second.
Oh,
it,
we-
and-
okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Counselor Hannington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
Yes.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes.
Counselor Moist.
There, yeah, there.
Okay, there's a.
She also motioned, yeah. yeah.
Okay. Any future agenda items?
Yes, I got one quick, Eric, Mr. Chair, we have a housing development on Route 6. And we'd like to just bring it to discussion. When this gentleman brought the housing development and done it, it was stated, there'll be 2 gentlemen here to speak. The lady mentioned that the town will be taking over the road, the responsibility of plowing and maintaining and whatnot. So I just mentioned to him that we put it on future agenda items so they can discuss it, that we can discuss it and see.
Okay.
Because he's lost 4 sales because of that.
Okay,
So are you saying an agenda item for a motion to do this or just a discussion?
Discussion.
Just a discussion.
discussion
Yeah.
of the next meeting.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else?
Yeah.
Item 27. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Vote.
Good do a roll.
Counselor
Yeah.
Hannington,
Got yes from everybody.
Yes.
Counselor Hannington.
Thank you, everybody. Oh,
No.
Roll call, roll call.
Sorry. I thought you did. Okay.
No, Counselor Hannington,
Yes.
Counselor Ireland,
Yes.
Counselor Rand,
Yes.
Counselor Street,
Yes.
Counselor Rojo,
Yes.
Counselor Moisten.